All right. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome
Hey.
to the show, the HEX Happy Hour show.
Yes.
We have Crypto Vince
Right.
and Big Kirk over there. And we got whales.
Yeah.
Whale sighting.
Whales party.
Boom. What's going on, man?
What's going on, guys?
Vince and Big Kirk are kind of regulars, but you've kind of done your own sweeps here lately, like El Hexadente was last week, man. I've seen you everywhere.
So I know it's been like
cool
a math
content,
tour,
man.
right?
Yeah.
It's been like a math tour. That's all I've been talking about.
So how's it been, man?
It's been good, man. It's been really good. I really only, I never expected this kind of feedback and this kind of reception from the community. I just really thought that people would accept, math to be math, because most of the people in HEX understand that's why they're here in the first place. So my objective with that first video was really to just highlight how cryptos actually work, because people don't understand how they work.
Yep.
The use case matters for a reason. Because that's what generates that value proposition, right? And the reason, like that's very important to understand when you're looking at something like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and any other coin out there, right? Like, what is the value proposition? Because it's true, all of them at certain points do go up, right? And some more than others, but the question really becomes, well, why some and why not the others, right? And that's a big question that it garners looking at when you're trying to make that next trade that's like Bitcoin, or investment that's like Bitcoin, right? Because I don't know about you guys, but that's kind of what I'm looking for. And that's the ride I'm looking for. Like, I'm not looking for, like, and again, I'm a trader, right? First and foremost. And this is like HEX is literally the first investment I've ever made in my life. My whole financial career has revolved around making opportunistic trades. So
what kind of time frame are you usually talking?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to talk about, right? That's exactly what I was going to talk about. So really, it could be anything from 6 months on down, right? So these are really short-term positions at most,
not really day trading.
Yeah. Okay, day trading was also a component of that, of course, because that's kind of how we all, we all start out day trading and whatnot. So that's kind of where everybody enters. But the only difference for me was that I kind of started out in foreign exchange. That's basically the first market I started with. And then I learned about stocks. I mean, by the time I learned you can short a stock, I think the crisis was already almost over. So
that's the way it works sometimes, man.
Right.
Just like everybody wanted to buy Bitcoin at the top,
Exactly. And that's, that's the nature of the beast, right? And that's why it's so important to understand things like sentiment, things like market history, just, all these nuanced things that you think don't matter more than just the price going up. Because the fact of the matter is, you have to understand how the price is supposed to go up. Like, there's a reason when these cryptos come out of the gate, they collapse, right? There's a very good reason for that. Mm-hmm. And, it doesn't make sense when you say it out loud, but you have to think about what it is we're talking about here, right? We're talking about something that is essentially growing based on human behavior, right? And that's what every market is, right? And when you sit there and you think about it,
it's good behavior.
Well, right.
Yeah.
That's the unique aspect of HEX, right?
And that's such a key. Yeah, you got it.
Right. Yeah. And that's kind of the thing that when I went into the network effect in that video, I really wanted to highlight the fact that the network effect really, what the network effect is there to do is there to enhance, right? And enhance the network via the properties that network actually contains therein, right? So what does that mean? What that means is, if we're looking at, say we're looking at Bitcoin, right? Say this is 2010, nothing else exists. People are probably trying to come up with something because they heard about Bitcoin because it's 2010, but nothing else is really out there, right? What's the value proposition here? Why are we looking at this, and why does it make sense? Because a lot of people understood it back then. I mean, hell, even I understood it, but I didn't get it, right? And I think that's the differentiator between buying Bitcoin at fucking $1.10, whatever the price was back then. Because I'm gonna tell you guys, and I've said this a million times, and I'm gonna say it till I die. I was around for that piece of transaction, like I saw it, right? So it's ingrained in my memory forever, and ever since then, right? And everything that's happened in Bitcoin since, and just the hesitation that people have made, and I've made that hesitation, right? Like the last time I hesitated to buy Bitcoin before it just took off was I think 2012, 2013, whenever it hit that $250, $200 retracement level after like running up to 1,000. I don't know if you guys remember that. It like ran up to 1,000, came back to like 200, 250, and then it never looked back after that. And that hesitation was like the coffin, the nail in my coffin for Bitcoin, because ever since then, I just couldn't, it was just that mental block. You know how sometimes you think you're going to take a trade and you just put that mental block in, and just because you're not aggressive enough as you should be, right? Because that's the funny thing. Like, and even this is the crazy thing.
There's always a difficulty when a position moves past you at buying it.
Yeah.
Back
yes.
in there. It's mentally it is painful, man.
It's aggravating. Yeah, it's painful. That's right. That's very true. And it even happened to me with HEX. But the funny thing is this: when it happened to me with HEX, it had happened to me initially after the big payday. Because I told the story numerous times, after price spikes down on that day to basically two even, right? 0.2 of a cent.
Yeah.
It spikes down. I see it like just jump from that level to like 2.5 of a cent. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh crap. Like I couldn't react fast enough. Like I literally couldn't react fast enough. The next thing I knew, it was at 3.5 of a cent. And I just had to wait. Right. Like I was like, okay. So that was a clear bottom, right? Like that was obvious, because the thing that people don't, I know because I was staring at charts for 12 freaking years, so I should know this. The thing that people don't see a lot of the times is when you're looking at at the end of a move, right? Whether it's interim or global, meaning long term, is that the end of that move is gonna show you that kind of erratic price action. And what that really is that's just an order flow running into a wall. I don't know if that makes sense. It's like a car running into a wall, right? You got price going in one direction, and then all of a sudden there's something there blocking it, right? And that's exactly what we saw on Big Payday, when price literally flew into 0.2, and then it jumped to 2.5, right? That's literally, and even though it's a small increment in terms of dollar amounts, right? We have to understand that we have to look at this in percentage terms, right? That's why I make these charts, because it's important we understand how we have to look at these things, because the nature of crypto or any market is not in the price. It's actually in the return streams. That's how you can determine whether an asset is a safe haven or a deflationary or an inflation protection asset, or something that's low vol or short vol. You get what I'm saying? Like the return streams help you understand when you should be deploying this strategy for this, for this market. Right? Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Because it's like
you come from a more legacy or traditional background.
Right.
So you have that base of understanding that. What's funny is a lot of people in crypto do not. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
It's an interesting set of traders that we have, and it's almost two worlds, and we're kind of seeing them collide. The slow process merging.
Yeah. Yes. And that's kind of like my objective, right? My objective is to just make not just really the HEX community, but really whoever's willing to listen understand how they should be looking at markets, because it's a very personal thing. We all have to make our investment decisions in accordance with our risk parameters, right? And only we know what that is, right? Nobody can tell us what our risk parameters are. So that's why, like, my objective is to kind of explain things as they are, not as you think them to be, because the reality is that we all want to make money. We all want to be successful. We all want to be the next billionaire coin holder. I don't know about you guys, but I do.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
Well, speaking of risk, I wanted to bring up something here that you wanted to share with us. on the show. And let's see here. Let me find it for you.
Sure.
So tell us this onboarding story.
Okay, so this goes back to literally now. This is how far back this goes. I think I might have been in HEX for maybe 10 days. This was like the first person I onboarded. I was still trying to understand HEX. You know, my pitch wasn't that solid then. I mean, I was still kind of getting it, but I was able to explain, at least at that point in time, as a CD that only goes up in value. Like, you can't lose, right? So this was 92 days ago. And I know it was 92 days ago because I was helping her figure out something that she thought she had done wrong, right? But so she thought she had spent $400, but only saw 200 of value when she went and checked her staking tab, right? Mm-hmm. So now we start going through this process of trying to see exactly what happened. I'm here like, okay, maybe you just got caught up in slippage, but 50% is kind of crazy. So let me get your wallet address. Let me take a look at the chain, and let me take a look at the chain and see what happened, right? So it turns out that she just didn't understand how to read the chain. She thought she had spent 400. She hadn't. It had actually been 150. Like, I confirmed it with her. I helped her understand what she was looking at, and then she was like, oh, damn, okay. And I sent her the Staker app link, right? Because she didn't have it. Like, I wasn't, set up at the time to like do all that. And we really had, like, I work with her. She's my colleague. She's my coworker. We work every day together. So we're very busy at work. So we don't always have the time to like take time out and talk about this. Like today we did. And I'm glad we did, because today, and this is going to be crazy, we just randomly talk about it. And turns out she just had, I think a random 6 to 12 G's just lying around. So she had bought half and half Bitcoin, Ethereum. Makes sense. You kind of know what's going on, right? It doesn't take a genius, just buy the shit. It's going up.
Yep.
So, no worries. I'm like, hey, man, why would you put him in that? Like, that doesn't really even make any sense. Like, you're not, like, we know where Ethereum is going. We know where, but I explained to you, like, what the deal with HEX is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I sent you the chart. Like, I explained it to you. So it didn't really click with her until we were able to clear out the fact that she had only really spent $150. And when she went to the Staker app and looked at the current value of her pod, it had increased to $200 in 90 days. And she's in the red for price ROI. And she's still up 33%, gentlemen.
Yep.
She's like, how did that happen?
That shit is great, man. That shit's great.
Yeah. So it gets better, right? It gets better. Let me finish the story because it's almost over. It gets better. Not only does she realize she has a 33% ROI while not even realizing she has a 33% ROI, did nothing for it. And in fact, her price ROI is negative, like 10%, whatever it is, because she bought at like 1.01 cent. Like, it was right before the big puke started on the second downturn, right? Of the most recent pump to 1.5 cents. So she bought at like 1.01 cent, right? Basically around there. So she's technically still in the hole in terms of price return. But we're talking about HEX, baby. We staked that bad boy. And in 3 months, she's up 33%, gentlemen. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Now, she was astute enough to listen to me and get in before big payday. So, of course, that helps, right? But you have to understand that big payday, now she only had like 15,000 coins, right? So how big was her payday bag really going to be? Maybe 6,000, 7,000, right? Maybe, right? But we're talking about dollar conversion now, right? That dollar conversion is a 30% bump in dollars. And dollar value
matters.
Right. Because that's how people are going to look at it.
That's how people are going to look at it. I mean, there might come a day when, all the, people are paying for shit in Bitcoin or what the fuck ever. But like,
yeah, but that's whatever. That's whatever. That shit doesn't even matter. That's the best part. It doesn't even matter. Because that's really pointless. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And that is impressive, man. That's the beauty of it. I mean, during this whole past dump, if you're staked, properly, then you're winning. You barely even feel it.
You're winning. That's the beauty behind compound interest. That's why I'm explaining to the universe or whoever will listen that all you need to do is understand this. It's just math. This is so simple. Like, this is like, you want a way out. You want financial freedom. Here you go.
Man, it's not hard math either, man. Like that's
Yo,
the thing.
dude,
I have a degree in math, and like this is not calculus.
no,
this is not
this is
hard shit.
nothing.
You know.
This is not even junior high math. This is like really barely junior high math, because we're talking about compound interest. This is something that you learn in like 5th, 6th grade. This is very, very basic.
Yep.
And this is why I went over the logarithmic base 2 function, right? Because that's what HEX is. And that's what the charts show, right? And again, the charts show the nature of the market, right? And when you look at a crypto, you can see the nature of the market, right? And then that nature is really log base 2, right? And it's very important we understand what that means, because a log base 2, when it starts, like we saw what happened with Bitcoin. Like, look at Celsius. Like, we see how this thing moves, because that's exactly how it works. It is not. It's really literally not a secret that they move similarly. Like, I don't know if you guys seen it, but there's a chart that was shared a while back. I can't remember the guy's name, but I follow him on Twitter. Let me look the guy's name up, because he's a good follow too, but he doesn't tweet a lot. That's the issue.
Sometimes those are the best follows.
Right. I was just thinking that. And then sometimes those are the best follows. But long story short, this guy, I got to look him up and I got to shut him out, because he's the reason that I actually, like, he tweeted this chart where the chart was a copy. It was an outlay of Bitcoin, an outlay of Ethereum, and an outlay of HEX. And that's kind of what slapped me in the face and told me, dude, you're not doing it right. You're looking at this completely wrong. That's when I realized I was looking at HEX completely wrong. Not everybody else, because you guys can't look at it like that. You don't have that experience that I have. So it makes sense, right? But here's the beauty. Here's the beauty, because you guys got to understand. I've been watching everybody that streams the whole time I've been involved. So I've been learning from everybody. All I did was take what you guys taught me and put it in numerical terms, in financial numerical terms, in economical terms that we can all understand.
Man, your graphs that I saw the first time you were on Discourse was great, man. That shit's fire. It's it's simple. It's nothing difficult. Like, I mean, again, as somebody, I feel bad as like with somebody with the math background that I haven't done any of that, because it's really not difficult stuff, you know. But like, man, but when you do it, it's powerful, man. It's super
but
powerful.
That's the thing. It's not even. Here's the thing: is you got to understand. I've spent 10 years thinking nothing but this, right? Like, a lot of people don't do that. So it's completely understandable that you didn't have the thought, right?
Yeah, like, no, I mean, most of my time has been spent not trading. Most of it was spent mining. So most of my stuff is command line stuff, you know, worried about how to get nodes set up, shit like that. It's
exactly.
Like,
that's
relatively useless for HEX. You know?
Exactly. It's an entirely different beast. It's an entirely different beast. And that's why, you know, when I realized what I was doing wrong, and then the thing about it is that you looked at BTC, you looked at Ethereum, and you could see that Ethereum was about to take the same path that BTC was taking. That it already took. Let me rephrase. Yeah. Like, that's why, you know, you want to be long Ethereum right now, because it's going to go to 2, then it's going to go to 5, then it's going to go to 10. Right. And then from there, who knows what's going to happen? It's probably going to put back to 2, then run up back to 15 and whatever. Right. Because again, it's the network effect. Whatever positive attributes are there are going to be highlighted with the more bodies or the more users that interact with that network.
Yep.
Right. Like, it's literally 2 log base n. Like, that's it. Right. Yep. Like, it's not me. Okay. This is the universe. This is mathematics. This is how it works. Right. And this is why when you look at these charts that I make, you can see Ethereum is up 1,253% as of the day before yesterday, right? For example, that's why HEX is up 4,100%, right? That's why the T-shares are up 6,917%, right? Like, it's these things happen because of the network effect,
Yep.
Right. I mean, it's
yeah.
straightforward.
I'd love to see the numbers for when the network, like for every how many users, get added on.
Yeah, I know.
Effect as it happens, there's some that are, diamond hands, and those are the real
Right.
value to the system, because like they're the ones that when this bubble pops, they're still gonna support the, and I think Hex has a lot more of that with the staking class. That's
well, here's the cool thing, and I don't know if you guys have noticed this, and I definitely want to ask you guys, because you guys have been around longer than me, and this is just my initial assessment, because again, I'm really new to the community. I've only been around since late October, so everything that I see is really through your guys' eyes on your streams, and on Twitter, right? And what I see, and also in Discord, like I'll be in Discord sometimes just watching, and this is the craziest thing that I don't even know if I've said this before, but this is just insane. And I really want people to understand how insane this is, right? Now, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but HEX is the only product where I see people get upset when the price goes up.
Yep.
Because there's more smart people involved, I think. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if that doesn't highlight the seriousness of this thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. I mean, like people who have been involved in HEX since the very beginning, that have fat bags from early on, are still accumulating and would still like it lower, and still have the belief that have the firm understanding that every time they can buy HEX under a penny is a deal. That's great.
Dude, I mean, this is the thing. It's not even a deal. It's a steal. People don't understand that this is literally free money. This is free money.
Yep.
I mean, listen to the story I just gave, and I didn't even finish it. This is the crazy thing. So Shorty came with her stacks. Like, she was gonna buy 50% of BTC, 50% of Ethereum, and now what's happening is that she's taking all of that money, and guess where it's going?
That's
right. What is it? Bridge.ren.protocol, whatever. BridgeRen.io or whatever, RenBridge, whatever the site is, like that. She's gonna be using that for her BTC, and she's gonna be using ETHEX.com for freaking Ethereum, right? Like, or whatever exchange or whatever DEX we can use. Like, long story short, she's gonna take all that cash and now put it in HEX because she understands it's just math.
Have you prepared her for the gas fee situation?
Oh yeah. She's already aware. She was like, "Yo, what the hell is this?" I was like, "Yeah, you gotta wait till it calms down because it's just crazy right now." And I mean, we see why, right? Like, that is again a function of the network effect. That's what that is.
Oh yeah, right? the things that work and are like doing things in the space right now are going insane. Everyone's piling in. I mean, like,
and that's the funny thing, right? Like, now hear me out, and this is going to be counterintuitive. The gas fees being stupidly high are literally a function of the success of the network.
Yep.
Right?
100%.
And that's exactly what I'm trying to relay is going to happen in HEX, because people have to understand, man, you can't just hide double-digit returns for that long. Like, it's been a whole year already.
Yeah. They're trying to ignore them, and that game only works for so long.
Exactly.
And you're starting to see it slowly but surely.
Well, it's crazy. It's crazy because I've seen a few tweets of people that fully are starting to wrap their head around what like HEX's true strengths, and some of that is like you said, it's funny to see a community where people are stoked when the price is lower, and in the same way, it's funny to see a community that's like, I saw somebody tweet today that was like, I'm excited. I used to be stoked for the bull run, but now
I saw that one.
For the bear.
I'm excited for the bear market. That is a new fucking paradigm right now.
But
it's literally the game of hot potato of like who's going to be sitting, musical chairs that we play each one of these cycles is like that is very different now. Very different.
I'm curious as to how that goes, because Silver made mention of it last week, and he was fairly confident about that. And then Richard actually spoke about it more during his stream, which I found interesting. And I mean, I don't know. I think Wales knows. I mean, especially in legacy markets, I mean, even more magnified in crypto. I mean, you get a bear market it doesn't matter. People want to liquidate, and it doesn't matter if it if it's your
no,
safe asset.
It's an emotional thing. People have to understand. It's an emotional trigger. It's not.
So I am quite curious to see how
that'll happen here too. That'll happen here too. But you have to.
You gotta expect people with emergency end stake for sure. Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, we have to remember like something that Richard has also talked about is that like think about the difference between an 80% drop and a 90% drop, and then a 95% drop. Those are that's a huge. When you go from 80 to 90%, I mean, it's a big drop.
Yeah.
You know, like that's so like if you could have a market in crypto that like everything else goes down 80 to 90%, and this only goes down 60%, 55%. I mean, that's still mitigating a lot of loss that like before as where previously. It was complete wreck city when the bear markets come through in crypto. I mean, there's nowhere to run and hide.
There wasn't. Yeah, there really wasn't. There's nowhere to run and hide. I mean, though, I think the whole crypto market just disintegrated back in 2017 or 2018.
Yeah.
Right, because that was the top. It was literally in January, and I think the whole crypto market literally just collapsed on itself. Yeah. Right, and there wasn't. Yeah, and there wasn't anywhere to go. There wasn't anywhere to hide. You had to sit there and deal with those P&L swings, right?
Yep.
And that is exactly what HEX like. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're in the staker app all day, right, you're gonna probably feel those P&L swings and probably be, a little motivated to potentially emergency end the stake. But just sit it out, because you have to remember. Any bear market that actually comes now, look, I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. There are no bear markets in HEX. And I think this chart highlights that, right? Like every dip is higher than the previous one.
Yep.
So far.
So far.
Yeah.
So far. But let me tell you something. That says a lot. Look at Ethereum. It looks nothing like HEX.
It's true.
Nothing like it. Structure is important. Structure is behavior. Structure is conditioning, right? And that even applies to markets, because we have to remember that is essentially what is being ingrained in the market, right? That's why every market is slightly different, even though it's a market. Every market has its quirks. Otherwise, they would all look the same, right? These return streams wouldn't even be interesting. Nobody would care what I had to say, right? The fact that they're so different is what's important here.
Yep.
Right? I mean, like we have to understand, like, this is why everybody now is like, oh shit, because everybody's seeing what's on this chart. It's hard to hide the facts when you're laying them out on paper, right?
Yeah.
Well, Benny in chat lays out a good point, and it's something I've heard Litecoin, Moses, HEX, Jesus, dollar cost coin, crypto talk about on discourse, and I've heard about it or heard people say 5 and 7.5, because obviously that would be half of the 10-year stakes and then half of the 15-year stakes.
Yeah.
So at 7.5 years, a lot of these guys, and I believe, there's a wall at 10 years out, I guess 9 now, because heck, we're already a year in.
Yeah.
So, tons of 10 and 15-year stakes, he says, are going to end, because he believes it. I say could end, because you never know.
I think that's the proper terminology to use.
Yeah,
but when it comes to markets, you can't speak. Of course,
especially in a bear market, like you're talking about.
Of course, it's there. But here's the thing: we have to stick to the facts, right? The fact of the matter is that the behavior we've been seeing has been contrary to that statement, right? All of the big walls stay; they just literally transfer from one point to another in time. They don't actually disappear. They continue staking. Now, that's something I've noticed. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that.
No, absolutely. We talk about that almost weekly now, just in terms of those rolling stakes. But I guess I brought that point up from Benny just because we're talking about a bear market, which HEX has not seen yet.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. It's important to talk about, right? Yeah. It's important to talk about because it's important to have, like in this specific instance, I think it's important to have a serious debate about it, because it really boils down to psychology at that point, right? It's not so much what's good behavior and what's not. It becomes more so, how have you trained yourself with the reality of HEX? Because HEX pays you every day, right? Like if you emergency end a stake, you're basically saying, all right, I want to take this loss. You're cementing that loss, right? Now, I'm of the same mind as Richard. I don't agree that the house, there's no such thing as the money. The house is money. Once you make a paper gain, that shit is yours. But
paper gangsters, we all are right now.
You have to understand, right? The objective is a long-term objective here. That's why if you held for a whole year, you were up 352 freaking times, and not just 20 times or 50 times, however the people, however many times you want to think you were when there were people exiting, excuse me, like in April when the market just jumped, right? Like it literally quadrupled, right?
And then it went back down again. So think about the people that sold the low, you know what I mean? It's like,
right.
You gotta have those diamond hands, man.
Exactly. And I'll think about this in Bitcoin terms, right? How many bear markets have we seen in Bitcoin? 2 already. Or actually, no, like 4.
Yeah, the cycle. Yeah.
Yeah, like 4 Bitcoin bear markets already, right? Give or take.
Yeah.
Right? And each time there's going to be somebody that just sells the low. That's how lows are made. Lows are made in desperation, right? And that's something people have to understand. Lows are made in desperation and highs are made on euphoria, right? That's why Bitcoin topped out at 20 G's or 19,800 or whatever the number was in 2018 or 2017 December, whenever it was. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, December.
But it's because everybody, I have people talking to me about crypto that never even talked to me about stocks or futures or anything. And that's what I have been doing for freaking, I don't know how long, right? So that's
when you get cautious, man. Because I was saying on one of my streams last week, like
that's a major sentiment check.
Seriously, like you
do not want tax or financial advice from your taxi driver, your
all of that,
your barber,
all the usual suspects.
In my personal Facebook feed, I'm seeing like just multiple people talk about Dogecoin, and I'm like, no,
it's gonna be epic. It's going to be epic, Wreck City.
Dude, there was some live streams of like live streamers watching themselves getting wrecked like live on air. Is man.
Oh my god.
So there's that group that there's the Wrecked Plebs group on Telegram. I don't know if you are in it.
I'm in it.
I'm not in it.
Okay, so you go join up this. You'll waver between like sometimes you feel terrible for these people, sometimes you feel like they deserve it, but it's just the sight and scenes of many wrecked plebs over the years making terrible maneuvers, and the Doge one was, you knew that was coming. And I mean, any OG knows that like everybody who's been in this game for a while has a pile of those fucking Doge coins. And like you could, they were worthless and they're for fun and you could still mine the shit out. If anybody's mining Litecoin, they're mining fuck tons of Dogecoin for basically free at the same time too.
So let's talk about that, because you go back and so do I. I don't know how long you've been in the market, Cabana. How long you been in the market?
Crypto, I didn't get in.
You were dragged in.
My interest took hold at the top of the last cycle, so 2017 or so.
Okay.
Crypto markets,
fair enough.
25 years. So
okay, yeah. Cool. So we're on the same page then. How about you, Vince? How long you been in crypto?
Mid 2017.
Okay, so around the same time. All right, cool. So everybody's relatively new to crypto except for me and Big. So Kurkowski, check it out. Remember where Litecoin came from?
Yeah, it was just a fork. It's just this Charlie Lee's fork with a
Bitcoin. Yeah.
It's all it is.
The mining man. So
exactly.
Yeah.
He's got some OG-ness to him.
Yeah, I mean, like when I got into Bitcoin, that was the first thing I did was went back and read old Bitcoin talk forums. So like even like the pre 2016, 15 and before that I wasn't a part of stuff, like I still read almost all of that. Like I read
because that was where everything was happening back then.
That's how you learned everything.
That was the Twitter back then, right?
Yep.
The forum was the Twitter back then.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it is, right? So we're talking about a coin that is a copycat of a copycat, and the logo is a meme.
Yeah. And it doesn't help that Elon tweets stuff like that.
Oh man,
right? But that just goes to show the level of carelessness on his part, because he knows he moves oceans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know he knows. I mean, he knows. We all know he knows. So, it's not the fault of the sheep, so to speak, because what can you do if you don't know any better?
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
That's kind of true, unfortunately. But guess what? That's how you learn.
Yeah, I mean that's right. That's how you learn, and it is a tough place for somebody like Elon Musk, where like you really like. I mean, dude wants to hang. He'd like to chill with us and like hang and crack jokes and make wise and shit. Like you do that, somebody's gonna lose their fucking life savings, dog. Like I mean I know you just want to like smoke some weed and chill with Joe Rogan. I get it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like this dude literally did that. Like what other CEO has done that and kept his job?
But at the same time, you have to be more aware. What is that?
Well, when you own everything, then you have.
I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Not going to fire yourself.
Pretty much, yeah. Because he does have multiple businesses.
He
has a satellite communications business. He has the satellite business. He has
Starlink's going to take over the world.
Yeah, Starlink is a beast. He has another one called Iridium Communications.
The Boring company too.
Boring, right? He has Boring. I forgot about that one. Tesla, we all know, and then he has a Hyperloop one. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Tesla, so whatever. I'd rather ride in things that don't blow up, but that's just me.
I mean, I'm just not about. I'm fine with it. I just don't want to. I'm not getting in the first gen. Like maybe like the 20th gen. Like once.
Look, dude. I'm gonna be like dude in Fifth Element, man. I'm not fucking with that. Like I was pushing some old ass shit
I'm with you,
in
Will.
1996, bro. Like I'm not fucking with that.
No way, man. No way, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like it'll probably be safer if someone else is in control than me behind the wheel. My wife is somewhere being like, no, somebody take the fucking wheel. Fucking let the robot drive, man. So
that's too funny, brother.
Oh, man.
Well, we had I was contacted on Twitter today by Anton. I think I brought this up to you, Wales, and I'm sure Kirk has some. I might have sent it to you, Kirk. But just his tweet. He is, please check this out. And I just love to get your guys' take on it. Was low liquidity in connection with large limit buy orders actually a genius move? What do you think about HEX price short and long term? So,
I mean,
let's talk about it for sure.
I feel like I talked about it a little bit before. But
you have,
I like the move. Like it's. I mean, if you're gonna have like there's several different things that it's doing. It depends on who's. Like I don't really care who's accumulating those coins. So it's origin address or whales. I don't really give a shit who it is, because like the addresses that are accumulating those coins on those limit orders aren't selling. So do whatever as long, that's really what matters the most to me, is if they're fucking going to be selling anytime soon, and it doesn't look like it. So accumulate all day. It just means less HEX on the open market, which is fantastic. Like the more they accumulate, the more you prime the fucking charge for a lift.
Exactly. That's what people do not understand.
Yeah, that's what I said. Probably, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago.
We all should be fighting over those coins as hard as we can.
Yeah.
Well, I freaking called the bottom under 7/10 of a penny because I was about to buy. So. I was like, there it goes. Bye.
Oh, man. And it's gone.
There's the meme. Yep.
Oh man, too funny, man.
You got to take on the low liquidity.
Oh yeah, I sure do.
Go for it.
So let me give you the mathematical take. Oh man, guys, give me a second. I live by a firehouse in New York City. Please let me just mute myself. These people just take the one way is the wrong way. It's incredible. You wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting because we've had for the past couple weeks a couple different guests either on the show or in the comments, and they've we've had both sides of the coin here. I'm a fan of it because I'm of the belief that these coins are going into stronger hands, like Big Kirk was just saying, that are not selling, which is big.
Yeah.
No pun intended. But what was I going to say? So, yeah, so that's that side of it, and then you have like a Steph or Richie Rich who've come on, and they have a very good point as well. And it's like, okay, well, what if guys want to get in size without moving the price, and it kind of like turns them off in a sense. Now, granted, over the past couple of days, we've seen some very nice buys. I mean, we've seen like 5 million here, 7 million here, I think, so it's kind of picking up, and that's good. I question how much that can keep up or here around a penny, because if you're wanting to get in big and you don't know if that liquidity is coming back, and you don't have, say limit orders in there, buying all that stuff, you're trying to get it on Uniswap. You wait till, the absolute max that you can, which I tried to do. And again, when I was about ready, it went away, but I was like, okay, well, if you can handle some slippage, you can, afford to go for that lower price, and you can tell yourself, okay, well, I'm going to move the price by this much, but if it goes higher, who cares if it's like a year or two from now, and you're talking like multiples of where we're at. So it's just a matter of perspective at that point. But yeah, go ahead. I hear the fire engine has left the building.
It's left the area, right? So look, those are very valid points, right? Because it's true. There's two sides to every coin, just like there's two sides to every market, right? And if you've been involved in markets long enough, you understand that. And this is the uniqueness behind what we're dealing with here, right? Because what we're dealing with here isn't typical. This is a brand new market structure that has not existed before. And what people need to understand is that it has to grow, right? And every market grows at its own pace. And like I've said before, even a tree, right? Like even a California red oak, right? Like even that has a brace at some point in its life, in its existence, right? So the combination of the OA with the combination of liquidity being low is, in my view, something that's kind of a necessity, right? Because this is something that, number one, is being gatekept, right? Number two, is being gatekept, right? Number three is being gatekept, right? So it's like you got people already interacting with the network, right? So
number four is under attack from other people that are not favorable to the HEX price, that have been involved in HEX since prior. Like, you probably don't know some of the history behind them, but there's some other wallets that that are probably not the actors too, that would like the price to be lower. So I mean, I think that there's more than just geek.
Let's talk about that
internal
because I've noticed, like, look at the selling volume, right, on the down moves. It's always very heavy, always heavier than the volume on the up moves, really. If you look at it on an aggregate basis, right, just look at it and just like add up the bars in your head. However, right, like you see there's a 4 million there. When you're looking at the 2021, early 2021, around January 8th, right, where that stack of red begins, right? You just sum those bars up. That you got 5 bars there. 4 times 3 is 12 million, and then you got 2 basically at that's 4 million. So that's 16 million in selling volume. Right. And the market literally went nowhere, guys. Like look at that. I think that's important to understand, right?
That's a great point.
Yeah, the market literally went nowhere, right? And that's a sign of the strength of HEX, right? Like, this is why I talk about the market structure so much, because I see it very clearly. But that's because I traded for 10 years and I understand what order flow looks like, what accumulation looks like. And this is why I'm pointing that out, right? Like, if we look at that green bar from January 7th, it looks like it's approximately maybe 5 million, right? HEX traded on that day, right? And then the 2 days before that, it was essentially 4 million. So those 3 bars are a +1, right? And then you had all that selling for those 5 days. And all they could muster was that little cough lower. Like, if you look at that on a percentage basis, that's really a cough lower. That's the move from 1.5 to what we just experienced now, basically. Or 2 cents. Sorry, 2 cents. I forgot about that. I forgot we made a new high from 2 cents to what we're at now, which we just made.
And really, most of that was in like a big chunk of that happened right out the gate. You know, it was bought up and then sold down.
Exactly. And the funny thing is I don't know if you guys would agree, but to me it seems kind of obvious that the people that are selling are people that are just either emergency ending their stakes, so they don't understand what they're doing, and number two, that little cough blower, hey man, yeah. Well, we have to understand, right? Like, so you guys got to really, really get inside my head. I really look at this from a numerical standpoint, right? And that's why when I say a little cough lower, I'm looking at the whole picture. I'm not just looking at the fact that it ran from 4 to 2 back down to 7. I'm looking at the fact that it came up from 0.0005. Well, I'm missing a 0. 4 zeros and a 5 on January 5th, all the way to 2 cents, down to 0.7 of a cent. That's nothing. I'm sorry. That's not a bear move.
No, like it's ranging really.
Exactly. It's merely resetting, recalibrating for another shock higher, because that's how this moves, right? If you look at this overall, that's what you're seeing. You're seeing move sideways, and that's not the whole history, but that's okay because you still get enough V2. Of it. Yeah, you get enough of it in V2, but V1 gives a better look because the V1 shows it clearly that this really never a bear market in HEX. I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's not obvious, then I don't know how to help you, right? Like, it literally goes sideways, and that's what it's doing now. And me and the team were talking about it last night on my stream. It's literally going sideways to up. So the flag is building. And you can even see it on the return chart when you look at it. It's just so 1-to-1, right? Like the relation is really 1-to-1. And the thing about it is that people have to understand this is not about anything else but network adoption. There will always be sellers because people will always be cashing out. You can't expect 100% of the market to always be buying. And then if they are, who the hell is going to be selling to you to buy? You got to think about that, right? Like a market works in a very specific way. You need sellers, right? So then the question then becomes, okay, go ahead.
HEX needs sellers more than anybody because like
we want to buy it.
There ain't no fucking HEX out there, man. Good luck getting it.
Like we want to buy the shit, right? And that's the crazy thing, right? So now let's break it down. Let's break it down a little bit. Now we understand why, right? Why the market only goes one way. Now we understand why, because it's literally a function of the network effect. This will always go up. Now you can change to Celsius. It's going to look exactly the same. Do it. Go ahead. I just really want you to I really want people to see it because it's so amazing because we're talking about something that not only goes up, but damn it, man, it pays you every day. Like, what's the conversation? This is Bitcoin in its second iteration in the form of greatness of the greatness that is high yield, right? Like people need to understand this does not exist anywhere else on the planet. And I showed some data last night. I have it here in this because this is the same deck I was showing yesterday, where when you yield farm and play with all of those DeFi protocols, your returns are essentially crappy, right? So unless you have like a massive book, you're not making returns. And then if you have a massive book, how efficient is it really for you to make money in DeFi? You're going to spend a lot in fees, right? Like people don't think about that. People think that just because people got money, they're not looking at that. But yeah, they're looking at that because that actually eats into their return. That eats into their return.
Oh man, I was going to say, I saw somebody on Twitter talk about that. Like how many, like they're like, man, I'm surprised at how many OGs are on Twitter bitching about ETH fees, you know, that like, and I'm like, well, man, the richest people I know are the
the cheapest people, period.
Yep. I mean, you can discussion. I was trying to be political.
I mean, it's really
cheap. It's straight cheap, man.
There's a reason they're rich. They're not going to spend money on anything they don't have to. It's that simple. And a fee is that. No. Yep. Even though, and here's the thing, even though it's a tax write-off, It doesn't matter. They're not trying to spend it right now. Right now, they're trying to maximize the value for their fiat, period. And that's what people need to understand. That's how the markets actually work. This notion of, oh, they got money, they're not going to give a shit. That's not reality. I'm sorry. I work with rich people every fucking day, and they are the stingiest motherfuckers on the planet. Straight up. I'm not even joking. They are. Hell, I have family that's rich. I can't tell you how much money they got. There's a reason.
Maybe that's why they're rich, man.
Exactly. But that's the whole point, right? That's the whole point. It's like, counterintuitive. You cannot presume that these people, because they have money, they're going to be willing to throw it away on a feet. That's asinine. Look at the price action. There's a reason it's all going sideways. Right?
I pulled up that sell chart. I think you wanted that there.
So is that all of it?
It's running right into HEX resistance right here.
Yeah. It's about to break out. Is that all of it? is that all of the history? It looks like that's all the history, right?
I think that's as far back as I can go on this one. Yeah.
Because I saw a different chart.
It's like May of last year, I think.
Yeah, it came out in 2019. I don't think that's the whole one. I think that's only showing you.
Maybe if you go to V, is there V1?
I don't know.
I got one.
I don't know. Check.
No, I don't have a V1 in this one.
Damn,
but that's. I think you have to
I mean, that's up and to the right if you want a definition of a.
Yeah, but I really wanted to show the regular chart because it looks just like HEX. Because it has that initial dip, just like HEX, and then it has that initial bounce right after that initial dip.
Let me work on that. Keep going.
Let me see if I can find it because I know I have it here. I've seen it. Like I pulled it up earlier today because I knew I wasn't going crazy. I know I've seen it before. So I'm like, yeah, I have a whole bunch of different ones here. I have like FTX is one that I have. Let me see what that one looks like. No, that one's too short. Because yeah, they're new. Why the hell would they have any price history? Hold on. Hit BTC maybe. Which one was the one I pulled up earlier today? I'm trying to remember. Because it really showed the whole thing. Let me just try this one. Fuck it, who cares? Hit BTC. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is the one. Boom, found it. So let me know what's the start date on yours, Cabana.
Oh, that was like May of last year.
May of last year. Yeah, this one I got is October 19. October 2019.
It does look, eerily similar. You even have like a fake out big payday dump over there.
Right.
Hey, nice point there, Kirk. I see it.
and this is kind of what I've been trying to say. Like people have to understand all of these coins move in a similar fashion in conjunction with their network effect, right? Because what we have to understand is that it's all dependent on the value proposition of that respective coin. Right. And even though Celsius is essentially not decentralized, not crypto, not any of it, look at where it's at. And it started at zero.
Well, the value propositions that it has are similar to HEX. It's just antithetical. It's like the exact opposite. That's why it's easy to talk about them in similar terms because they're both offering returns. Once you get to technical standpoints, well, this one's doing it through these shitty centralized means. This one's, But the point is I've talked about before is that I do understand why people see the value in sell, and like I see the value in sell only because like man I use the movie, and I'm sorry for everybody out there who's a fan, but like Paul Blart Mall Cop, it's to me a fucking terrible travesty of cinematography, But
I agree.
The thing is like 80% of the world loves that stupid movie, and so like most people are gonna want to, most people want to get their password sent to them via email 7 times a month, because they forgot it, and that's what Cell offers you.
Yeah, I mean that's just crazy.
It's dumb. It's dumb. Don't get me wrong, but that's what most people are.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's why a lot of people say well, HEX is an IQ test. And it's not to insult anybody, right? It's just people don't think about what they're doing with their money. They're just thinking about the convenience, right? They're not really looking at the big picture. That's the issue.
That's why whenever I hear idiots talking about, or really smart people, it's actually really smart people. I usually see the core devs talking about how they expect, one day we're going to teach everybody about cryptology. And you're like, bitch, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
They don't give a fuck.
Get out of here. Come on. I'm learning because I want to be, like I'm making it my business because Hex motivated me to do all these freaking things because Hex is so cool. And I want to do shit for Hex because it's great. Like Hex solves so many problems, dude. It's insane.
A big part of that IQ test is T-shares. And Johnny Chaos Hex Fabio touches on it all the time. And that to me is the biggest part of the IQ test. And once more people grasp that, I know all of us Hexicans who know about the product have been around for a while. We get it, but man, once the outside world, so to speak, grasp the concept of T-shares, and it's on, man. It's on. There's no looking back.
Yo, I really wish. Like, I'm sorry for cutting you off, Big, but let me just say,
no, go for it.
I really wish you guys would have just seen my coworker's face. Like it's like the light bulb moment was insane.
Was that the T-shirt moment?
The T-shirt.
I know those. I like have seen some of those moments, man. They're the best moments.
She was going because she has like 1.6 T-share, and she was going through the site, and she was looking at like the payout. Like I guess she had never looked at it before, and I told her, "Hey, just go through the site. See what's going on. If you got any questions, let me know." And she just never went through it. Clearly, because when she was going through it today, she was looking at the T-share. She was looking at the payout table, right? The daily payout table with the T-share with the Hex per T-share payout and all of that. So she was seeing what the amount of Hex she was getting every day, and she realized she was only getting 1.6 T-shares worth, and that's when it smacked her. And she's up 30%. Even with just that 1.6 T-share, right? Thanks to Big Payday, but not including Big Payday, that's probably still 15%, 14%, 13%, maybe even 12%, right? But we're talking double digits in 90 days nonetheless, ensuring that 40% APY. Boom. Boom.
Yeah. And
boom.
I've had some people make that realization at the end of a stake, because I have some people that I got in pretty early that were like, they only did a 1-year stake.
Hold on, Big. Hold on. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Check it, because she was ready to end her stake right there. She asked me, what's the mechanics about behind ending a stake? She dead asked me right then and there. I'm glad you mentioned that. Look at that, right?
Because at that point in time, they really understand, like, hey, now I'm not going to be making that much Hex going forward. But if I take my principal amount that I just pulled out and restake it longer, because everybody so far, every end stake's been a year. So, if I stake it longer, then I keep my T-shares and I get to glean a little off the top if I, want to. Which, I mean, the funny thing is I'd say 85% of the people that I have helped that, so far, and, several of them have had unstakes happen. Almost all of them have restaked their principal, and that's like 95%. And most of them have staked everything again. Have just been like, no, fuck it, it's not high enough. Let's go.
Yeah, and that's the thing, dude. It's like people don't understand, right? Like, this is literally free money with no effort at a double-digit rate, right? Like. That does not exist anywhere.
Even the shortest stake still, like, you do a year-long stake and it's still over 15%. I mean,
this stake she has is a year-long stake, so she can't even do anything. It's only been 90 days, so she's stuck in it. Now she's like, damn, I got all this. Now she's realizing she has all this money sitting there that wasn't doing anything, and it could have been earning Hex this whole time. And I was telling her and explaining it. She just wasn't listening. Right. And it's one of those things that she's now going to kick herself in the head, because she could have had 30 G's instead of the 10 or whatever. Right. Because of Big Payday, because that's what Big Payday did. It broke you off for being an early adopter. Right. That's really what Big Payday was about. It was about doing an airdrop to the community for believing in a product from the start, before the adoption phase was over. Because again, it was called the adoption phase, was it not? Right?
Yep, adoption amplifier.
Yeah, it was called the adoption amplifier. So that was really just the loan inflation that the system was going to experience. And that's why I believe that HEX is gonna do what Celsius is doing, only in a more violent fashion. And the reason I say more violent, even though they're kind of the same age and they're clearly not moving up at the same rate, there's an obvious reason as to why Celsius is up at 5, right, versus 0, right? I think it's an obvious reason. We were just talking about it. It's just a convenience factor that it offers people via centralization. It's not really a crypto, right? Like they could have just been a bank. They could have literally just been a bank and not offered a coin, right?
Yep. But that's it. I mean, that's the thing is that Celsius at the end of the day, like, you know, we're going to languish at $5 for a minute here because like this is one of their price points where the team was going to sell, you know? So like, is there a team around here that's going to sell HEX on anybody?
I didn't even know that. I don't know. I don't even know that much about Celsius. I really know the bare minimum. I just know the chart.
So like, there's a team. They had their initial price point was like $1.50, you know, and they all decided to put out longer and buy before they get paid, you know. So like it had to sit at a price for a certain amount of time, like a week or two or something like that, before they could you know, get paid. But that like then there was the ability contractually for them to sell. And so like you know, I'm not saying that they did sell it, like they dumped the price or anything like that. They're trying not to, you know. I mean, but
it looks like to say it definitely does not look that way to me, right? And
no, I don't think so. I'm not saying that, but like, but regardless of that, whether there be, you know, more of those places along the way, of course there will be, and like,
of course, sure.
and I'm not saying that they're wrong for doing that, but HEX doesn't have those externalities. Like there is no team to pay for shit, you know. There's no, you know, there's none of that, you know. Which that to me is like a huge difference of most of this projects. Is like there's just, you know, most things have people doing stuff, pulling some lever somewhere, and they those people want something eventually, you know.
I mean, that's a very good point. I hadn't thought of that, and that's actually a mental factor that really I haven't even discussed. Jesus,
because zero overhead.
Yeah, this just made me more bullish, bro.
As if you couldn't be any more bullish already.
How is that possible?
I don't know.
From my mining days, you know, like even the best mining projects out there, Zcash, Beam, you know, whatever you want to go through over the years, you know, that have been big launches. Like all those projects have like founders taxes, and my machine is making some other motherfucker money. And if I don't write my own fucking software to, like, if I'm using Claymore Miner or something for Ethereum, well, that asshole makes money for fucking me using the software, you know. There's just constant, you know, fees for an overhead for paying for people's fucking rent. You know, they're rent seeking on most sides of the situation, and like that sucks. You know, it's like like, where's the rent seeking in HEX? Oh, it's right up front. We pay Ethereum network fees, and that's it. And we pay we don't. That's great. That's it.
The only rent seeking in HEX is when you're initiating or ending a stake. That is it.
Yep, that's it.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so boring that it's beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Because, and I don't know about you, Cabana, since you were in finance for a little bit, but maybe you can maybe share this bit of knowledge with me, with the community. But boring is what pays, is it not?
Did you say boring?
Boring is what pays.
Yeah, in the end, I mean, if I think it was said on the stream you were on the other night, man, Kareem reiterated what Richard always says. It's like, who gets rich in crypto? You know?
Right. Exactly.
Founders and the holders. Is holding boring? Yeah. But is that what makes you the money?
Yes, it is. And it took me a long time to really, like, look, I'm an old dude. I mean, I'm not that old, but I'm fucking, you know, I'm 36 and nearing on 40, right? Like, I'm really a hop, skip, and a jump from 40.
Man, I'm older than you. Come on, man.
But here's the thing. I've been trading for 10 years. I've been trading since I was in early 20s, right? Like, since I was a young guy, I've been doing this, right? So it's a process that we all have. But that's the thing, right? It's a process we all have to go through in order to understand how to really make money. Like, we're talking about building serious. Like, I'm talking about building serious wealth here. I'm not talking about fucking pumping my bags, bro. Like with HEX, the opportunity is so much greater, and
that's not what it's about at all. Yeah, you got that right.
Yeah. Like, and that's what I think people are missing, right? Like, we're really here preaching like some real religious type shit. Like, we're trying to be.
That was something that Crypto Blood was talking about on Discord Syndicate, and like the reality he was admitting to is that most other systems that are trading based in this are zero sum. Like, we're trying to not be a zero sum game. If everyone can understand that, that because T shares matter and keeping them is what matters, and if everybody is trying to,
that's funny because that's the only zero sum in HEX.
Exactly. If we all understand that, like, we don't all have to run for the door at once, and if we all just use the level of let's keep the T shares we had before, then like the system will never it will never be a zero sum game for anybody. It will consistently work for everybody.
People really don't get it. Like, he really I just cannot I cannot emphasize enough how genius the design of this is.
Oh, it's wonderful, man. And the thing, we brought it up, I think it was one of the 2 streams I was on with Coffee last weekend, is when you're onboarding somebody, and we're talking about, Staker app and whatnot, but just in general, like, who are we trying to onboard and the ideal candidate to do so? Well, the ideal candidate to me is somebody that is responsible with their finances, is not a get rich quicker person,
right,
and someone who can delay gratification. I try to stay away because, man, I try to onboard people, and I can recognize it, within like 30 seconds, and it's like, okay, you can see the wheels turn in their head and be like, oh, okay, so how fast do you think it can appreciate? And it's like, oh, okay, you're kind of looking already flip, where I'm trying to tell you this isn't about that, and your rewards could be multiples of what you're even thinking about, because that's what people have been trained to think.
Exactly. That's a good call. That's a good call. That's a very good point, because it's very true. It's very true.
Yeah.
I used to think like that until I realized that was the wrong way to think, that you're not really going to make any long-term money thinking like that, because you're just jumping from one hot potato to another.
Yeah, and especially with HEX, it's designed to stake, hold, lock up. That's the value, and especially for everyone who is staked and who is holding. So why do we as onboarders want to bring people in who are just going to flip? I mean, that just delays the whole process. I mean, I'm looking at Etherscan wallets, and I'm like, okay, this guy's finally done. Okay, on to the next one. All right, this guy's finally done. Oh, and then you do have like some flippers that, accounts that guy will like load up with 10 million, and it'll go up, 15%. He'll unload, price will drop back down a month or 2 later. He'll reload, price goes up, and it's like you're never going to get rid of that. But
right. No,
I think the more wicks that we do get, the more price volatility, and perhaps that's by design, by this liquidity pool. The more of these people are shaken out, and the stronger ultimately the product gets for the long term. So I'm willing to take that short term volatility, because, hey, man, we're staked. I would think most of us are, and let's shake them out, man, and let's just delay that gratification just a little bit longer, and then let's ride.
Right.
Yeah, and every time one of them loses money on in a bad move, that just is gonna come our way. That's just where it all comes from. So
I mean, let's talk about liquidity, right? And this recent down move, right? Because this is basically kind of what that question is about, right? Like, the dude really wants to know, like, how does liquidity in HEX really affect HEX? That's really what he wants to know, right? And the thing we have to understand is that liquidity is truly dynamic, right? And what that means is that it's ever changing, right? Like, liquidity in a market like HEX, right? You have to understand that, number one, HEX is the kind of situation that you don't really need liquidity, because I don't know about you guys, but why do you even really need 5-6 million on the LP at the in the LP at all on a daily basis, when volume might be in dollar terms maybe 4, maybe 2, depending on the day, right? And talking in dollar terms, right? Like, you don't really need liquidity in order for a market to function in such a way that it needs to be 10 million when the market is only really a fraction of that, right? Like everything has to happen in a proportional fashion in order for it to function in a specific way, right? That's why if you have too much liquidity, price is going nowhere, period. That's why earlier in HEX time, when ETH was, 50, 70, 80% cheaper, the liquidity pool for ETH could be 10 times the size. And we were talking about this last night too. We talked about this in last night's stream because it's relevant, right? Like people need to understand liquidity is dynamic. It's not something that you just put it up and that's it. It just doesn't work that way because the market is always changing. Like back in the day, 15,000 ETH made sense for a liquidity pool. Nowadays, 1,400 ETH makes sense for a liquidity pool because ETH costs 10 times more, bro. It's that simple. So, good for us because we're going to now benefit from that because guess what? It requires less ETH to buy the same amount of HEX. So guess what? The pool is smaller, so the price moves are going to be bigger. It's just math, man, because that equation F, which is force equals mass times acceleration, is exactly what the X times Y equals K formula is. And K in this sense is the F. And M and A are X and Y. Like it's really straightforward. And when you look at it like that, right, you consider the fact that this is Newton's second law, basically, if you think about basic physics, because that's what that is. That's what this formula is, right? And once an object is in motion, that's it. It's gonna stay there. Like that's just what it means. So when you have this linear equation, that's what that order book basically is. It's a linear equation. Anytime you get an unbalancing move in that order book, it's going to tip the scale in the direction it has to go. And the thing about it is that we all see how these markets move. That direction is up, man. It's not down. Right? Like the number of sellers never supersede the number of buyers. And the price action in all of HEX shows us that because it's up and to the right, no matter what.
Yeah. What excites me also about this main run that we've been on, we've seen the majors like Bitcoin, and especially Ethereum, is we know what some of those large HEX holding wallets have. And it's a lot of ETH. And that ETH price has been going up, 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 and HEX has been just chilling at a penny or below, and a penny or below. And if these guys are already, big into HEX and they're ready to, when they're ready, I believe is the proper way to put it. That'll be the day, and it's gone from there. Like you said, it's going to go in motion, and it's not coming back. It's just when is that? I think it could be months, but I don't know. Throw it out there because we did have a question or just a Dominican Willie wanted Whale's price prediction. What time frame's key there? So anytime that anybody asks for a price prediction, I always ask what's your time frame. So I would say midway through the year and then the end of the year.
Yeah, we were actually talking about this yesterday. And we made some discoveries. And look, it was so crazy because it was in the middle of the night, and I really want to watch the tape again because I have to see what the hell it was that I saw that made me realize that. Because it's kind of a weird thing, but the HEX logo has something to do with the design, right? And Richard has harped on that so much, right? And I've always said this to myself. This thing is geometric. This thing is geometric. This thing is geometric. And I think that I discovered how so last night. But I need to watch the tape to just figure out what the hell it was I came up with because it made sense at the time. But Jesus, it was like 2, 3, 4 in the morning. I don't know what time it was, but it was too late. I was kind of gone. Like I just needed to watch the tape again because it really, really made sense. Because when we looked at it, we were like, okay, a 20% increase somehow. I can't remember how I derived that 20% bump. Oh, wait a second. I took some number and divided it by some other number, and it was 20%. And that's how I came up with that move projection. So I came up with something from the price chart I took some values from the price chart and came up with a ratio, and that ratio was 20%. And I don't know, it just clicked. And we all hear Richard always say, you get 20% more every year. So if I'm going to make a price projection on a yearly basis, I'm going to guess based on the price action of HEX and how the return stream is currently developing, and given the structure that it currently has, I'm really thinking we could see $2 by the end of summer. Yeah, because you have to understand, this thing progresses in a fashion that's geometric.
I'll take 20 cents.
Right. Look, dude. I have to say, no expectations. I'll take 5 cents, but I'm just talking math here.
Yeah,
this is what people have to understand. This is what people have to understand. I'm talking math, right? And if the network keeps seeing adoption, this is what people have to understand. Let me just, I'm sorry, Big, but I got to say this.
No. I'm just like, my FOMO pants are just like forced right now.
I saw a rise in the keyboard there. Hold on.
This is all network effect, guys. It's not, it really doesn't, like, you don't need a mad rush into this, right? Like, it's either going to float up there or it's going to run up there or jump up there. Like, those are the options. You're going to, let me rephrase. You're going to float, walk, run, or jump. That's it. That's how markets work, because this is a one-way situation. Like, that's why I wanted to look at that Celsius chart, because it really just floats up there. Right? It's just it seems to be like a consistent level of adoption. It's just always going up, always going up, always going up, always going up, and that's it. Right? That's what it seems to be. So imagine.
And it went through its early volatility too.
Yeah, of course. The first, 6 months were volatile, from October 19th or October 7th when it came out. It's from this chart that I'm looking at, all the way through the mid dump into the dump in March. Which was that bear bottom after the shutdown, right? That the whole world went through. This is exactly the March 20th, March 12th. I'm sorry, March 12th, March 13th of March 20th of 2020. Sorry. That was a low, like, for pretty much every other market, right? And it's been like a straight shot since then. And I mean, that thing made a low of 4 cents. So you're up, I don't know, 100 times or some crazy number. Like, it's at $5 now. So 1,100 times. Like, I don't even know. I can't do that kind of math in my head. Like, I'm good at math, but I'm too busy talking right now to like stop and think about it, right? Yeah, but that's a lot of percents, and that's the point.
Right? 4 cents to $4 is that's your 100x right there.
Yeah, so that's your 100x right there. For
that's
sure.
all.
That's 1,000%. Boom.
Yep.
Boom.
So.
Right.
So like my point on liquidity, because I hate to revisit it real quickly, but just a quick point. I don't give a fuck about the whales that want extra liquidity to go buying.
You know what's funny?
I don't give a fuck about them. Richard even says it, man. He says, we're not an anti-whale here. We're about making new whales.
Yeah.
And so like the idea that like anybody can go buy 10 million fucking HEX right now and not see that much slippage, a couple percent,
pretty good.
Fine. That's fucking great. And anybody who has, and I firmly believe that like everybody if you look at the staking class, everybody who's a fucking dolphin, who has at least, 4 million plus HEX staked, 5 million plus, it's gone up how much you need now, probably like 6 million now to be a dolphin. If anybody who has that shit has the opportunity for fucking life-changing wealth, that I really believe. It's not that many fucking people. It's 1,000 fucking addresses.
What's funny? I don't think it requires that much HEX for life-changing wealth.
I don't even think it does either. I think it could be much less. We have an active user base of staked wallets around 20,000 addresses. And could you imagine if
it's 26,000?
26. Imagine if that just goes to 200 to 250,000. If we just have Celsius has 250,000 users. If we could just do Celsius's 250,000 users, we would be fucking where you're at. We'd say $2. That's probably about right.
Probably higher, dude. Probably higher.
Because
staking adds that convexity to the price move that people just like. I'm never gonna forget this. The December 31st day, it wasn't just a lot of buying that day. There was also a lot of staking going on around that time. You had a lot of end staking and a lot of restaking, right? Because that's when that big flood of HEX was going to start to come out. And I thought I was going to dump my liquid portion to reset on a lower move. And no, I ended up keeping that shit because people kept restaking their stakes that they were ending because the price just did not go down. I was floored. Like, that's when I became a true fucking Hexican. I'm going to tell you guys. That's when I was convinced I was never going to buy anything else in my life because that showed me, you guys don't understand, that showed me something very important, right? Price action says it all.
You see the conviction in the community. You know, you understand. You understand that, like, just like OG Bitcoiners, just like there's a fuck ton of Bitcoiners that are like, oh, bring it down to a penny. I will sell my house.
I will gladly buy Bitcoin at a penny. We already know it's gonna go back to
everybody, because like people will sell their firstborn child to fucking get Bitcoin at a penny. Yeah, every one of them. And like the HEX community is just as fucking strong, and if not stronger.
No, it's stronger. I was around in the early Bitcoin days, and you were too. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about community. Can we talk about community for a little bit? Because I would love to talk about community for a little bit.
Okay, and that's been one of the best parts about HEX, honestly. Is that, like, I've done music festivals before. I've worked with kids with disabilities before. I've done a bunch of different shit. I've community built in different ways in a lot of different things, and like this has been the most fun and unique experience to community build in a way where like we're totally disjoint, we're doing our own fucking thing in our own little bubbles, and like yet we've been able to create like such a tight-knit fucking crew. It's been super fun and unique. And the people that we've gotten like aboard, like, you know, speaking to what you've talked about, are like people's knowledge and a lot of people getting wrecked and having to understand, you know, a slow game. That's why HEX caters to the 28 to 45 crowd, and like nothing else in crypto caters to that older crowd. It just doesn't. And you know,
that's true.
And, like,
that's a good point. I never thought of that. Shit.
Yeah, it's because people understand the longer game once they've been wrecked a few times. You know.
Yeah, you're right about that.
It's great. I mean, like there's so many unique, cool things that about the community build part that like have just been nothing but a pleasure to be a part of. You know, it's great.
Yeah, I mean, just to share my personal experience, because I'm basically brand new. Number one, I'm from New York City. There's no such thing as community building here, right? Everybody here is like, fuck it, right? I mean, that's what it is. So that shit does not exist here. I'm not the average like I can be personable, right? But I'm gonna look to not be, because I just rather not, because again, I'm from New York. It's my natural demeanor. But man, the Hexican community, dude, I have to tell you, like, I'm just sitting here in my apartment in the Bronx, in the hood, and I'm just like, yo, these guys are sharing some freaking information that I'm learning a shit ton about HEX with, right? So I'm just sitting here like, I gotta do something. What the hell can I do? I've been the whole time I've been learning about HEX. I'm here like, okay, T-shares, all right, you know, because that's the one thing, that's the missing link for everybody. Like, all right, it pays interest, but how does it pay interest? Because I don't know about you guys. I remember BitConnect. BitConnect made a lot of promises. And what I learned back then was you have to look at where they're paying this money from. And that's the catch, right? And people, the average person isn't going to know to look at that. I knew to look at that because I used to work I used to be a hedge fund analyst, blah, 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 right? I had the experience to understand I had to look for that. A lot of people didn't have that experience, and they got wrecked in BitConnect, man. A cousin of mine got wrecked, and I told his ass, dude, what are you doing? Like, that's no bueno.
The unique thing about crypto and mining is that, like, it has really early on taught a bunch of people a little bit about where does the money come from, because like that's like, I mean, the first thing you look at is block rewards and what the distribution is, and like, actually, okay, where does this fucking why does it? Oh, like, I mean, everybody knew out the gate Zcash was going to dump like hell when you added a 20% founders reward. You know, like it's just you can't, you know.
Exactly.
But anyways, but you were saying,
but that's a good point. It's just like you said. It's just mechanics, and that's all I've been saying. I haven't been saying anything differently. I've just been saying it with charts, right?
Because the community is just like this awesome byproduct, and like it's really just like buying HEX, you know, at some degree, because like, you know, in any way, shape, or form that you get here and get to jump on stream and say what's up to everybody and be a part of it is like, awesome, because it's going to get harder, because eventually there's going to be more people that want to do that same thing, and like, you know, being as early in as possible to be, you know, on any of these shows is fucking a dream and a joy, you know. So like I'm like I said, I see that it's already like, I'll jump on, you know, an effing hangout, you know, I finally get the kids to sleep or what the fuck ever, and I'll go on, and there's like a fucking crew of new people on there saying cool different unique shit, and I'm like, fucking hey, man, they already got this shit fucking sailing right, you know. Like, I'm good, man. I'll listen for a little while, you know, and like so like, and that's only going to continue, you know. So I mean, like, it's super awesome to see someone like yourself that like doesn't have any of the background that we do of being around all this, but yet still feeling it's, you know, hard, super hard, and then, you know, wanting to contribute too. I mean, it really like proves even on beyond itself like why like this will work great.
Exactly, yo. That's what people don't understand, and it's like, yo, I'm the person that doesn't even belong here. People don't understand that. I literally do not even belong here. I shouldn't even know the math that I know. I shouldn't be the person telling you guys how crypto works. I'm literally not the person that should be sharing any of this shit, because I literally don't have the background. I've learned all of this myself. I've connected all of these dots myself. I don't have the pedigree of the Harvard and all that Ivy League crap. I'm learning how to code now. I'm understanding how the internet works now, right? It's all of these things that if you can sit your ass down and put in some work, you're going to be a smart freaking guy. And it's not even about being smart, because everybody is smart. The difference between one person and the other is that they don't realize what they don't know, and they don't go seek that information that they need in order to make themselves more self-sufficient. Because that's that's really my message, right? And I sent out a tweet yesterday that was really just about just that. Like, I'm really about teaching people what they need to know to become free, right? But the reality is that we unfortunately have to buy our freedom. So what's important is to understand what economic freedom is, how it can happen for you, right? How you can make it happen in a way that's not trying to buy the rip and sell the dip and all of this crazy shit. Like, there's better ways to make this money that doesn't require you to learn all of these ridiculous lessons that are stupidly expensive. Like, I've spent so many thousands of dollars learning how to trade futures, learning how to trade FX, learning how to trade options. Like, it's not cheap, and you're not going to make money just because you think you know what the hell you're doing. It just doesn't work that way, you know, and HEX just solves all of these crazy problems. It really, really does. I mean, we could even talk about the pension crisis, and I talk about this all the time. Like, you stake for 1 year pension fund, pension crisis over. Congratulations, and you're welcome. Like, it's that serious, and people do not get it. When these pension funds understand that they're wasting their time with all this other shit that's out there, and they learn about HEX, it's game over. And people don't understand how serious that is. Like, I know I do, because I'm from fucking Wall Street and all that shit, so I get it. So I'm here to let the community know that shit is very serious. Look at what Grayscale is doing. You think another Grayscale isn't going to pop up? There's already a Guggenheim scale. There's already a copycat. It's called Osprey or whatever. I can't remember the name of it, but
there's already some tokens out there. I'm not here to show other shit, but there's tokens that are like looking to put together, like allow you to put together your own Grayscale kind of funds and shit. You know?
Yeah,
like,
they're the index type of coins, right? I've seen them. I know exactly what you're talking about. They're like the index sets or something like that. And and the funny thing is right before, like right around when I found HEX, I was like trying to like find all. Like, I spent 60 days, man, trying to find all the holes in this shit. All of them, like, literally.
I heard you talking about that. So you're like 2 months, man, and I was looking for holes, and you couldn't find them, huh?
Oh my god, I was trying to find holes in every which way, trying to find ways to make it better, make it worse, make it whatever. Like, I was just trying to find like anything, and you know, I have the financial background to be able to do that, right? So I can literally sit here and run through all of these scenarios, right? Like, long-term investment solves it. Short-term investments solves it. Annuity situation solves it. Short-term option, long-term option solves it. Like, I could literally run through the financial instrument book and just shut everybody the fuck down, bro. Like, you don't understand who you have on this stream. The shit is real. People don't get it. There is nothing out there that just pays like this. And it's built to pay like this for a long time, gentlemen. A long time. And that's the beauty behind it, like the design and just everything. Like there's a reason there's 568 billion coins. It's so we can all eat.
Yeah. I love it. I love Crispy Triple Hex's comment here. Holding 1,475 T shares pays the equivalent of a $15 an hour full-time job at current price. That's fucking great. Because like you know the thing about T shares is that like we all know the longer pays better, but like I mean for the reality being spoken here, you can hold T shares in any way, shape, or form, length of time, and all the rest. So if you've got short ladders that accumulate to that, then you can be pulling that in, and actually finding a way to supplement your income in reasonable ways. I love Richard's take on never going full-time crypto just for the sake of not being a sink on the system, but let me tell you, being able to supplement your income with HEX is fucking incredible. I think everyone should consider that shit.
I mean, that's the crazy thing, right? You have the optionality to convert your income streams however you want. I mean, you can stake from 1 day to 5,555 days. That's a big ass time range. Like you can literally do whatever you want. Like I have a big bag of HEX that I don't have staked. Like I might have like maybe let's say maybe 20% like staked out long term of everything that I own for HEX. Because I'm not used to thinking that long term, gentlemen. I have to be honest.
I think I have your wallet on my screen as one of my scan tabs. I've been watching you, sir. And when you don't, I will know it.
I know that feeling, and I'll be honest with you. If it wasn't for the feeling that I felt about the bear market cycle, and really the way that my belief in the system, like early on, I staked a lot of HEX long term, and I don't know entirely if I had that giant pile of HEX in my hands, liquid right now, if I would be able, even though I know what I know about the system, if it would be as easy for me to stake as it was at that point in time, So like I always feel like whenever you can stake, when you can stake it is the best. It's the best time too, because like I look back at that as some of the best decisions I've made. Like those longer stakes are worth. So
let me ask you a question. Why is it so much harder now versus then? Is it because of the T-share rate, or is it just because you knew how much cheaper it was then versus now? Like how come? Because it's so easy for me to throw a stake up.
It's easy for me to throw a stake.
Yeah, but let me just say, because even though I don't have it staked out long term, I do have it staked out short term, right? Like 30 days or 20 days, whatever it is that I do. I keep my 100% staked, right? It's just a big portion of it. I'm still trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to stake it, because it's a big decision, because it's a time lag.
You want the honest to God truth is because like that shit's like some of my stakes are more dough than I've ever fucking had in my pocket, like in my life. You know what I mean? Like it's a ton of fucking dough. And like at the time, we were buying ETH at $80 a pop, and
it costs nothing, man.
Getting $1.5 million for like
Jesus
that shit.
Christ.
So like the come up is real, and like enough to where like to where like. If I made a million HEX stake, then now if you have that that's a lot of dough to fucking just toss away. Like I'm not gonna lie about it. Now it's easy for me to restake the coins that come up. When a coin, because like I've had a stake come up, those for 1 million HEX, and like that whole 1 million HEX got restaked, right? Like the principal and then some got staked immediately for longer, and that was easy because I am a fiend for T shares. So like as soon as you see less, I want more, and then I can get more, with less, because as a year-long stake just came up, and now I can do 2 or 3 years, and I can get more, and I can, that shit is great.
the longer you sleep on it, the less T shares you get. So you got to be ready to
resell. You want to do it more, and it's a vindicating feeling because I mean there's still win there for me. There's still I could take a little bit of interest off the top, and like I said, I mean that literally can pay. It's changed my, like I said, and not to get all HEX fucking testimonial over here, but like that shit's fucking like life changing. That's so like I mean that's like if I had all that shit now and just had found out about HEX, would I be able to just like throw all of it at it? No, I think I'd be like wary or scared or wouldn't know or I mean, but man, just because of the dynamic of how money works, it's why I think staking is so great because like in the end, like once you make the stake, like you are in it, like I definitely don't think that no matter how high the price of HEX goes, that I will ever unstake early, like it's
exactly
that I don't think I would ever do.
Like, all right, let me just because this is how crazy HEX is. This is why I'm such a beast when it comes to HEX. Before, man, I would spend all day looking at charts, prices, right? I'm the regular Wall Street guy. I'm always looking at a freaking phone, all this nonsense. No longer do I do any of that. I don't have to. Like damn near all of my cash goes to HEX. All of it.
I feel like the time that I spent, like when I spend more time with my family and less time refreshing staker, that's when the price goes. Anyways, that's like
exactly. Yeah, dude. I mean, it's just a whole different mindset.
Even if the price doesn't go up, a couple goes.
You're making money. It doesn't matter.
You have and I'm like, oh.
Like
more.
you just can't lose, dude, and that's the freaking thing.
Yep. No, you can't.
I mean, I'm just gonna say, man, the community again has just been phenomenal. The HEX community, I think, is going to keep the HEX. The HEX community itself is like, what's the word? What's the word for something that grows by itself? It blossoms by itself. You know what I mean? Like it's just infectious. It's infectious. That's the word.
Or infectious. Yeah,
it's infectious because I'm on a stream. I have never done this in my life. I never intended to do this in my life. I intended to make one video and be done with it. But here I am talking about what everybody wants to hear so they can understand what their money is doing. Because it's important that we understand that our money is not secured by hopes and dreams, right? It's organic. Boom. Thank you. See, I do numbers, not words.
This shit is what secures that money, like at the end of the day, like every one of us believing in all of this and holding and not emergency unstaking and doing what we said we would, that's what makes this all work, so like each of us being able to come on here and live stream is incredible, and the fact that the community has grown like this just makes us stronger, and so like that's where it's at, that's really where it's at. It's so like I love like the fact that you started when I first saw you doing a live stream. I was like, who's this dude? Whales only. And as soon as I heard your shit, I was like, oh my god! I cannot wait to get on live stream with him. So, and like, there's room for that for everybody that has a place in all of this.
I feel like that, and that what's crazy? If you look at the whole Hexkin community, there are so many people that don't even live stream that add so much value just on Twitter alone. It's insane. Yeah. It's insane. There's so many good people in this community. And that's kind of like the main thing that like pushed me out. I felt the need to have to share whatever I thought I had, and I thought I had something, and people thought it was worth something. So here we are, and we're just going to keep talking about it because people have to understand this is math. This is not hopes and dreams, man. This is real. Yeah. This is real. Like as unreal as it seems, it is real.
No, it's exactly. Oh yeah, it is. I mean, like, and it's still crazy because it does feel that way, but like when you really just get down to it, it's distilled some of the best elements of this market. The crypto is the highest appreciating assets in human history. True,
and that's for a reason. And that's for a very good reason.
A lot of it's because of the technology, and some of it's because of the speculation. And like this marries a lot of that together with some traditional financial pieces that that like do the best job possible to support the price, keep giving people an incentive to play the game, and more statistics and more things to look at, more charts and more fucking information than like ever we've had in Bitcoin or any other, cryptos, yet. So, I mean,
right. So let me ask you guys this: how do you guys view the effect of those little charts that I did on the community? Do you guys feel like that was some real value add? Because the thing that I'm viewing is that I think a lot of people just don't understand that is what HEX is, right? Like that is HEX,
that's what it is.
Right? Like I think people need to understand that like I have nothing to do with that. All I did was just put it in graphical form. Like think of me as a graphic designer. Like that's how irrelevant I am to the situation. All I did was just relay it. That's all I did. Like I really don't. I don't want any credit for this. I don't want anybody to even know who the hell I am, really, because I don't matter. What matters is that people understand that HEX is real, man. Like it's math. And the thing about it is, this is not the only crypto project, whatever, that is like that. That's the whole market.
So I've said something about that a couple of times before. That like, so we've all sat and looked at this page, and like I'm gonna give these gatekeeping motherfuckers their moment for a second here, but like because their name is in it, coin market cap. We've sat and watched what matters on there, the market cap and the price. And that's it. And we've sat and looked at those fucking metrics for years on years on end. And do you think we're the only ones that figured out? Do you think Richard is the only person that figured out how to hack the market cap? No. It's not the only person that figured out that there's a way to hack those fucking numbers. So, like, do I believe that there's going to be more than one, of these cryptos that is going to be in the top 5 that is going to unseat, Ripple and Litecoin and a couple of these other ones, and be competing with Bitcoin and Ethereum? I do think that. I think that we're not the only, player. Like just like calculus was invented by 3 fucking dudes, and natural selection was invented by 3 dudes separately, simultaneously. It's because all the base layer knowledge was already there to fucking put those building blocks together.
Right.
It's just human evolution. So like, yes, other coins will do very good too, but we have some fantastic intangibles that make us unique all in of ourselves.
Well, here's the thing: you say intangibles, I say tangibles, because they're in code, so they're not intangible. They're technically not intangible.
That's true.
Right, because they're gonna they are properties of the network. That's what I like to think of them as, because when you think about it and you think about how the network effect functions, it's merely a function itself, right? And that function merely powers those properties in that network effect, right? Or in that network, sorry. So
you're right. Even the community basis of it, like I feel strongly talking about what I say because I'm backed up by fucking numbers behind me. I mean, like if I wasn't, then it wouldn't work. Hang on, y'all.
There's a number behind you. Speaking of community, this is your weekly reminder to head over. Don't close us, but visit your hexologist and say hello.
Oh, it is about time.
Say hello to Hexo.
It is about time.
Obviously, we're a fun bunch, so you want to, stay tuned.
Of course.
But community.
Go check out Hexo. Go check out Hexo. I love Hexo.
And I just saw this on Twitter. Let me put this up here because calling all Hexkins in this chat, in Hexo's chat, Eric Wall just put up a poll. And
I don't even know who that is. I'm too near.
He's a ETH.
He's calling for another one.
Oh God! I wish people just wouldn't buy into this stuff because it's such a waste. I talked about this for a little bit. Go ahead.
Like he debated Richard that much. Like, I mean,
I think this is more for clicks and engagement right now.
Yeah,
I think it's mostly for clicks and engagement because, I don't really feel like he debated him. They mostly I'd say 70% of what they said, they were on the same page.
Yeah, I think they agreed with most of the stuff they said. So
yeah, I think that Eric was actually disappointed that he didn't disagree with Richard more by the end of it.
Yeah.
That's sad. That's just sad because it's
like I think that he's not always right, but like he's not the worst cat in
I don't know
crypto,
who that guy is.
I would love to see. He's kind of snarky, but he's not like when Richard says like what had truth bombs for him and he agreed with them. I mean, he's not gonna be like fuck you or be hard.
He's not gonna make himself look like a straight up fool when he knows that he knows you're right.
He's not playing games, I mean, like and the interview was funny. Their interaction was funny. Like at one point, like at the very beginning, it was like pre-HEX launching. And like at the very beginning, he was like, "This is the worst idea I've ever heard of, Richard." And then like by the end, like what is it? Like 3/4 of the way through, he's like, "All right, this is the third worst idea I've ever heard."
It got better with every minute, huh? He couldn't even help himself.
We made some headway. Already. Which again, like I said before, like with OG cats, like even Crypto Blood on Discord Syndicate the other night, like even when puzzle pieces fall into their, they figure it out and they're like hearing it and they're like, oh, okay. You're never going to get anybody, especially that has their own agenda and is like it's OG and been around and is pumping their own shit or doing whatever they're talking about. They're not going to be like bow down to you right then and there and be like, oh, you're so right, fucking random cats I'm on a stream with. No. They're going to go and do they're going to okay. And like even if you just get them to grab their beard a little and think about it, then like you've made some fucking headway and they're going to think about it and they're going to go back and do some deeper research, which is what anybody should do. I would expect that.
Yeah. I mean, you would think that, but I mean, I've been told to my face that HEX is a scam after like a 10-minute Google search. So I don't know.
Oh fuck yeah! I mean, well, and that's the thing is like I've been told to my face, and like we've had there's plenty of other streamers who will continue the narrative blindly, regardless of information posed in front of them. Doesn't matter the charge, doesn't matter the numbers.
You know what's funny? I'm glad you mentioned that because let's talk about that for a second. Because I really talked about that. I talk about that a little bit, but not a lot. But since we're here streaming and we're not really YouTube influencers or anything like that, we really just talk about HEX. I figured it'd be important to talk about that. There's a lot of YouTube influencers out there, right, that really want the 500,000 views and all this nonsense. And, when you sit there and listen to what they're saying, just listen to just listen to the content. There's not really much there. It's a lot of just fluff. Yep. You know what I mean? Like nobody's coming with any value-added information whatsoever.
How about that shirt Richard's wearing, man?
That's that I don't give a fuck shirt.
I got a couple of those actually.
Love that shit.
That shit is too funny, man. That's too funny.
Yeah, actually, I would like to see that again because that guy was a bit cocky when he was talking to Richard. But I don't think it was a.
He had to break his cockiness down by the end of it, a little bit.
Absolutely.
I mean, look, I think I shut everybody's cockiness down, period. Because all you gotta do is look at the numbers, man, and it has nothing to do with me. It's just the numbers, right? Like they are what they are. You can ignore them, but they're still there. So, no, not really. I try to sleep as little as possible. To be honest, I really don't try to sleep that much. Actually, I hate sleep. I'm like that dude in that movie. I'd rather not sleep. What's that Bond movie where that villain dude never sleeps? Tomorrow Never Dies, is it? The one where they're
never dies.
Yeah, I'm like that guy. I'd really rather not. Like there's too much to do and there's too much to like talk about. There's too much to share. I mean, that's the thing, man. I've never ever just stayed up talking, right? Like for fucking 8 hours about shit that nobody's ever asked me anything about. So it's like I'm just getting it all out because nobody's ever asked me before.
It's fucking good, man, because like, I know that like Richard talks about the Dunning-Kruger effect where like some people that have good information, don't bring it up and don't speak their mind and like just like sit there and it becomes like, and I think that it's even worse than just the Dunning-Kruger effect because like, sure, you sometimes is what it does to people internally that don't come out with it is they become cynical, and then they're like, "I knew that shit."
You're 100%. You know what's funny?
And like,
my sister would call me that. I've been a cynical bastard basically my whole life because I know so much shit, and I've really been trying to find. I'll think about it.
Me too. Like as like a math person, I come across as condescending.
Exactly.
That's what everybody calls me.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, then, Big Kirk. I don't gotta tell you.
I don't want to be. I don't want people to think that of me because, like, I talk to myself in my own head like that, you know. So, like, I'm
here's the
just
thing.
as condescending in my own brain.
People don't get there's a difference between being matter of fact and being condescending. They see it as the same thing because they don't know.
I fully agree with that because people mistake me for one of those, which it's not the condescension part.
No,
just like sometimes you just got to
know it all. Know it all, right? I've been called that before too.
Cut to the chase sometimes.
And it's just like, yo, look, I'm trying to give you all the information you need so you're making the right decision. And that's my point of view all the time. I mean, hell, my first fucking stream was 3.5 hours. I'm clearly not concise. I'm giving you everything you need, so you don't even ask me any questions.
This whole HEX experience has shown me that, like, has proven the Dunning-Kruger's like effect and how to work against it more than anything, at least psychologically for me, has been to express this shit and to tell people, because so far everybody that I've talked to about HEX and gotten them involved is nothing but happy. Everybody's like, this is like, it's just kick ass, man. This is amazing. So like I've done it, you know, like and it's also freeing and gives me an outlet to just, you know, keep my mouth flapping, which I you know, would in any number of ways that I have in normal life anyway. So, you know, and my family loves me more because they have to listen to me talk less. It's great.
Everybody wins. Everybody wins.
Yeah, everybody wins. But I do think that sharing with people is just caring, and it's better for everybody. I mean, it makes you feel a lot better too to get it all out to people. I mean,
it actually does.
Just hearing Joe Hexotic's one of those cats that, like, when he was talking about like listening, you know, Discord Syndicate being one of those one of the groups that have helped him to stay sober this past year, because, you know, obviously Friday's a tough night for somebody who's a recovering, you know, alcoholic. So that like that's like an unintended side effect that I would have never expect. Like I couldn't have, like, I wouldn't write that into anything that I would have thought was going to happen. And then to see him not only doing that, but then kicking ass and crushing the stream game everywhere else and then some is incredible. Yeah. You know, like, you don't expect.
I watch this show all the time. Both of theirs.
Yeah, what blossoms off of what you're doing now, you most of the time you never could, and, you know, even intended. So like I really am appreciative of you sharing what you put together, man.
Speaking of Joe Hexotic, quick promo: Cabana Crypto will be on his show this Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
We'll be there.
Catching that one. That'll be a good one.
This concludes this PSA. Continue.
I mean, that's the thing, dude, right? Like, what? Let me ask you guys a question. Now, this might sound crazy, but I pretty much watch every stream that's HEX.
That's already crazy,
right? Isn't that kind of crazy? Like, here's the thing. Because here's the thing. I used to watch all of the YouTubers, right? All the crypto YouTubers, because I'm trying to learn about crypto. I'm not trying to learn about pump and dump schemes. Okay, so that's something I want to highlight, because that's what I realized I was getting from the other people.
Yeah.
Now, when you sit down and you're talking about people in Hexican land, it sounds like they're talking about HEX, but they're not. They're talking about everything. It's an actual, lively, colorful
ecosystem.
But hold on, because I got so many more adjectives to throw onto this community. It's crazy, right? I mean, there's just, no matter what stream you turn to, you're gonna enjoy what's being talked about. Period. Mm-hmm. That's just been my experience. Yeah. Like, I mean, look at the one. I mean, like, look at the one with Maddie and the Joker yesterday. I thought that was a great segment. They were talking about mental health, psychology, how people react, how people do this. I mean, that stuff people don't even really think about, but it's so important.
What's the variety?
Into Joker too, with that like, you know, of why he does what he does and how he does it. You know, it's right. Awesome. I mean, because like getting him aboard the HEX community was something that's, like, to me, it was another great, like, one of those serendipitous assets that, like, you know, you couldn't have you know, it was a random raid from HEX.
That
was just that was like the best because it was, I guess, in a sense, organic. You just raided. There was no plan there. It was like, oh, hey, let's raid this guy.
Yeah.
And then boom,
and
he comes in. He's like such a great personality.
Yeah, he is.
Yes,
I had never heard him talk before. Yesterday was my first time. Completely impressed me. Completely impressed me.
Former man,
Everybody in this damn community impresses me, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
No matter whether it's Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, whatever, there isn't a single person in this community that just doesn't add value in some way, shape, or form. It's crazy.
Yeah, and what's great about it is the diversity of the streams. Now I know like everyone loves Moon Talk and price, and that's pretty much the main reason why a lot of our Hexagon viewers tune in, and you know, maybe some outside people looking forward to learn about the product. But there's so many streams now, just 13 months, 14 months into this. Joe Hexotic does a bunch, Matty Allen does a bunch, mental health and faith and recovery. I got those two reversed. But Joe does the recovery streams and just the interviews. Funding Jim talks more about the finance side and business side. Just great stuff. I mean, I try to be a little different because again, I don't want to talk about price all the time, but sometimes we got to. These past couple of weeks, I love it.
But that's why I just talk about math, because it's not about price.
Yeah, and we try to be entertaining on here. Vince and I, tell some jokes and stuff like that. We talk about current events, and it's just it's such a community and so much bigger than just a financial product. But the community is like the best possible product you could ask for, byproduct you could ask for of a crypto. Because man, I mean, I just love hanging out with everybody and talking to you and be like, man, I look forward to, after COVID and all this nonsense, meeting up with half these cats and going out and having a drink and, head to the beach and do some conferences and, and it's not just Moon Bros. That's the thing. It's not. Our demographic is older, it's smarter, it's more responsible, it's more financially stable. And that gives me so much more faith in this product.
I mean, what's funny? I think the thing that makes me most bullish, and this is going to sound kind of retarded because I'm a math guy, but the thing that makes me most bullish is the community. Because I think people don't understand that you don't need influencers, you don't need anything. Like HEX sells itself, and the performance is going to make everybody aware.
Bitcoin had none of that shit fucking to start with. They had to, that didn't exist. It had to be created building block by building block. Yeah, and then to see those motherfuckers be like, oh no, you suck. You're like, oh, and like you just did this 6 years ago. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, now that we're gonna be able to like take what you did and run with it further. I mean, you should be stoked by that.
That's what I hope for, man. And what's funny? It already happened today. Somebody tweeted about, and this is what I would love, because it's not about me. It's about the community, and it's about the community understanding what they own. That's what it's about for me, because the main reason I decided to come out was because I was just playing with charts, playing with data, just seeing what I would find, whatever. And when I realized what I found, I was like, oh my God, I need to live stream. I need to let people know what's going on here, because I don't think people really knew. I didn't think people knew, and clearly nobody really did. But the thing about it isn't so much that people didn't know, right? Because I think we all knew internally. We all innately knew that HEX was this beast that it is. What we didn't have was the visuals to confirm it. And that's all I did. Right. So what I would love. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to give you props for those visuals, because they're great. That's some of those, a couple of those charts, and the realization when you show the T-share charts that like, oh yeah, this doesn't even include for staking. It's just like some, they're little nuggets that just make it. I mean, it's just do you like this chart? You're like, yes, I like that chart. You're like, well, guess what? It's actually
I love that
Cool.
phrase because it's so applicable to Hex in so many ways. It's crazy, right? Because it's like I remember that first stream I did. I was just saying so many guess whats that I was just like, nobody's gonna want to listen to this shit. But it just fit every damn time. I couldn't help myself every time.
Oh, I know, and it feels like I said. It feels almost when you say all those, you feel almost ridiculous. You're like, it can't be really true. But then you're like, okay, look back at the chart.
I'm not lying.
I wasn't kidding. I'm not lying.
Because that's the thing, man. It's like everybody looks at the same. Like if you look at everybody's looked at this data before. Everybody has looked at this data before. Everybody's seen it. I'm not showing you guys anything different. I just presented it in a way that made sense because all the time I've been in crypto, I have never heard anybody say this is just a network effect and this is why, and this is the network effect, and this is why this is carry crypto's high. I've never heard anybody explain it ever in the history of crypto. So the HEX community has that first explanation, right? And not only does the HEX community have that, it also has the proof that HEX will always go higher regardless of the gyrations. And that's what that chart is at. Basically, that's always the last chart that I like to show, because that chart is the chart that shows you how the T shares always go up in price versus the HEX price, because it's a ratio. And Big Kirk, you and me can talk about this because we were around back in the day and we know about the hash rate, the importance of the hash rate with respect to the Bitcoin network, and the significance of that. Like that's really the cornerstone, right, of the valuation of Bitcoin. If it's not for that, Bitcoin has really no value, because then it's not a proof of anything. It's like any other shit money.
It's like, I mean, and really hash rate, it's funny because like it's a similar thing expressed in a different way. Like we're doing this community thing, showing ourselves, here we are. Here's the stakes that, like, I mean, David Feeder's over there showing fucking watch me stake 1 million coins live.
Like a boss.
It's fucking boss. And like that shit is very similar to like what hash rate really is like, hey, I'm gonna do this wasteful ass shit and burn a bunch of dough just because I believe in this shit. That's all it really is. I'm gonna hire these engineers to make a better chip even because I believe in this shit. Because like we know that like at some level, even especially the people at the top that like have been running pools, like mining pools for a while, they all know that the mining is a security fucking theater. They know that shit's kind of security theater. And like, but that's not the point. The point is there's, even if it is still security theater, they still are raising the curtain. They're still paying the guy to sweep. They're still fucking selling fucking popcorn out front. And the reason
they're adding
is
some kind of value. They're adding some kind of value.
Because they're adding value. And the best way that you can add value early in Bitcoin early on, before there was like this giant network of people, that actually using it and making tattoos on themselves and all the rest of the shit, was hash rate. I mean, in an instant, you showed the whole world how fucking much electricity you were willing to waste. Not price, but amount of electricity you were willing to waste.
That's the formula. I have the formula. I have the formula because what I'm doing, and I probably say this on every stream, but I just want everybody to know that the HEX community will be the only community also with an actual Bitcoin chart. I'm piecing it together as best as I can from as many sources as I can pull it together, because we don't really have one place where we can go look at our early BTC price action. Like it just doesn't exist. So I'm piecing that
like
together.
That's the thing about that early network effect too, is that like Bitcoin's network effect, the hash rate meant even more early on to Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it was so, there was none of this shit. There was no way to see even how it was doing. It wasn't even fucking traded anywhere. So how could you like be like, oh, let's get a barometer?
There wasn't a whales only back in the day to show people.
And stick it in the air.
Let me ask you guys this question: when did the stock to flow model come out? I don't remember that being out early in the days. Back in the days.
No, I mean it had to. I'll be honest with you. I'm not like. When I was like the last, like I don't remember Plan B, that dude putting that shit out.
I don't remember that dude from back in the day either.
No, I don't
know
remember him
where he got
until
that from.
like toward like around the last bull run. You know, like the last bull run is when I remember seeing his information
Okay.
coming up. But like,
Okay,
I mean,
I didn't remember from the early days.
but
That's
no,
what
I
I'm
don't remember him from before that at all. Because I mean, like that's it. But I don't think the data was convincing back then. Because like now,
Yeah, it wasn't.
okay,
It wasn't.
there's
Now it's obvious, right? Now
yeah,
it's
exactly.
obvious.
Now it's pretty fucking obvious. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and of course, just like everything else, you know,
Thank you, Crypto Sparkbuck. We got the
Yeah.
answer right here. It's it came out. The stock to flow ratio came out in 2017. Yeah, thanks, Crypto Sparkbuck. Much appreciated.
I feel like I remember them talking that being a thing, you know, mid 2017. You know,
Yeah.
that's right about.
I don't remember from back then because I really wasn't into Bitcoin at that point. I was into the altcoins. I was a big holder of XLM and XRP because I was of the mind that the network effect would take care of the valuation of those prices because I really believe that, you know, at that time, those were the stable coins, right? And that's how they functioned. And that's why I was such a believer in holding those bags. Huh?
I was off the deep. I was heavy mining, so like I mean, I still get it.
I wasn't doing that.
I was a fully. I like when the split happened. I went Bitcoin Cash hardcore. Turned all my miners.
Yeah.
BCH. I mean,
it was crazy.
I went out to Tokyo, fucking shook fucking Craig Wright's fucking hand, and at the Satoshi's Vision conference, all that shit, man.
Wow,
and
dude,
like slowly learned after that shit, you know, one piece after another that he was full of shit, and that was all like a very terrible decision overall. And like, I mean, some parts of that community is good too. Like, I like the community building that Roger's tried to do within Bitcoin Cash, but like, I mean, yeah,
that's one small corner. Right, of the Bitcoin community that doesn't exist in Hexland.
Tiny.
Yeah, exactly. In Hexland, every corner is amazing. Every corner.
Oh, for sure. And that was something that I realized they had a lot of things very, you know, incorrect about how to, you know, really add the fundamentals properly. You know,
right?
It's like, and Richard talks about it from point one. Like, you just can't give the wrong people all those coins, man. You just can't. Giving Mt. Gox fucking all those fucking coins is just stupid, and they'll forever dump on.
It's crazy, dude, and that people don't get it, right? And look at how high Bitcoin is. With that being said,
exactly.
And people still don't get it, and people still tell me I sound crazy. You're gonna see, it's just math.
I mean, like it's just fucking math. I mean, like again, it's going to that all. Is I don't have any less faith, you know, even though Bitcoin sucks more than Hex does, I still believe some of the things that I believed when, you know, 4 or 5 years ago when I got into crypto, that like when I got it with Bitcoin, I was like, oh, this is going very, very, very high. Like, I can remember about, you know, when I bought my first Bitcoin, the like I had the chance to, and I was mining Monero at like 600, and then like right about $1,200. And like when I got it at about $1,200, I was like, oh, this is there's gonna be a zero behind this eventually, you know.
Like, whoops.
And then there's gonna maybe be another one after that, and like, you know, like that's still, I believe those things, you know, like there's still a reality behind all that, you know, but there's just other ones that will go up much faster.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Like time is everything, right? And the key for
log based too, man. There's a reason why it's a log curve, you know, like which part of that log curve you want to
be on. Yeah, like people don't understand.
I want to be on the bottom part. I want to be down here. I want to be
right, and that's where we're at, because this is year one. That's where we're at, right? Look at Bitcoin. It's not even 30% done.
Nope.
People don't understand that.
I mean, it's still going to be an incredible ride for everybody. You know, that's the thing about the heaping and Hex, is that like I don't expect everybody to like come over onto our side anytime real soon.
Right? No. Bitcoin was dead for 500 plus days. Bitcoin had no actual activity until that piece of transaction, and that was 500 plus days. Yeah, that's right.
You know,
Crypto Spark. Yeah, I forgot about that. That's a good point. Before 2017, Crypto Sparkbuck says it was still about Bitcoin being a currency, and that changed in 2017, which is correct, is accurate, when the market realized how slow BTC is. That's right.
Hmm.
That's exactly true, because now it's known as a store of value, right? Not as a currency.
I mean,
boom,
that
narrative
was
change.
the argument. No,
Yeah.
like to be like I'm gonna beat this little dead horse for just a fucking second, because like it's something that even Richards talked about, but like that didn't fucking have to happen. Bitcoin doesn't have to be as slow and shitty as it is.
Yeah,
Fucking
that's
Ethereum
right.
only here because those shitty fucking Bitcoin devs said that those transactions are spam transactions and we don't want them on our network. And they fucking removed opcodes to fucking make sure that Vitalik had to launch Ethereum. He wanted to do that shit on Bitcoin. Oh, Bitcoin would have been better on block size if it wasn't for the motherfucking fact that we have a bunch of core devs that want even smaller blocks instead of larger blocks, which was in the motherfucking roadmap. So like, it's not to say that Bitcoin couldn't have done. It could have done all of this shit, but so be it. We do it on Ethereum.
We're here now.
I mean, yeah, and I mean that's all technical, like it's bullshit. That's just like aggravating because like it shouldn't happen in tech. That shit shouldn't have happened, but it did, and I mean it's because this Bitcoin is really not just tech. It's also like a social experiment all in of itself too.
Yeah,
you really get a lot more than just tech, finance, sociology. All of that shit melds into one with Bitcoin. So like we made some mistakes along the way. So be it.
Of course, I mean that's kind of what's so amazing about HEX, right? I feel like HEX, because again I was around for the early days and I saw a lot of that turmoil, but I was on the outside looking in, right? I wasn't in it like you. I wasn't in it like Richard. I wasn't mining a damn thing. I wasn't adept enough to be able to do that at that time in my life. So I was just a spectator. I understood that Bitcoin was going to the moon, but I was very skeptical because I was in the military, and because of that experience, I understood how government worked, and I just did not believe that they would just let it continue to just be as successful as it's become. And I just didn't understand the fact that they have no control over the internet. It's something that they have themselves, even though they created it, they have lost control over it. And I say this on every stream, but in case nobody knows, the internet is now in outer space. It legit cannot be shut off. The internet is on forever.
And Bitcoin is too. I mean, like
that's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean.
Yeah, and like
that's exactly what I mean. That's the reason I didn't buy it, because I thought they could just shut it off.
The unique of that is that our success in the global, I mean, ours as in fucking living right now, their success in the global economy is uniquely to whether or not they're willing to accept the principles of finance that are coming their way. So like, it's not just and they shut it up or not. They don't accept it. It will financially dearly in the near future, and they have been already. I mean, it's like when Julian Assange made this post for what he's before he was taken in. It was like, I'd like to thank America for not letting us accept it for the past 10 years and forcing us to take in Bitcoin. We're up like 38,000% or something like that.
That
like,
worked out
we have
for them.
billions
So
of dollars. Yeah. Like you're never going to actually get rid of that entity because how strong their bankroll is, even if that dude's gone. That is the power of cryptocurrency gains. I mean, so those that will bow to it,
let's talk about that for a little bit. Let's talk about that for a little bit, because there's something I do know is that people don't understand how money is supposed to work. I know that for a fact, because I have this conversation with so many people so often, and I get the deer in the headlights look every time. And I understand why. And it's because, who the fuck thinks about money? Nobody. You just know you need to get it. And that's pretty much the end of it. But let's look at what we earn, right? Income with. Hold on. Let me see something. Hold on. I guess I'm sorry, guys. Did I miss that from earlier? Give me a second. You can share my screen if you want anytime, Vince, because now I just put up the chart. So the thing I want to remind people, let's talk about money, right? Money is supposed to be several things. It's supposed to be, one, a store of value to some degree. It's supposed to be divisible to some degree so that you can actually, make purchases and shit, right? You don't want to have to pay for a can of Pepsi with a couch, right? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So yeah, that's right. Because crypto spar, but I got a feeling I'll be streaming with them guys pretty soon.
I like Crypto Starbucks question.
Yeah, I've watched them before. They're solid. I've watched them before.
Answer. It's a super simple answer to their L2 question. The only people that really need to use L2, like that want to, are the Gen Pub, the fucking plebs, because they want it simple and cheap and easy. So until level 2 is simpler and cheaper and easier than anything we have right now, it's not going to be fucking used. So like, I don't know when that's going to be, 1 year, 3 years, but like it has to be easier than fucking Angry Birds on your phone before these motherfuckers are going to use it. The right people that need to use it are going to use it, because everybody that right now that wouldn't use it, we're all willing to pay high gas fees and mire through Etherscan and do all sorts of bullshit to get there. Like these motherfuckers the people that need L2, they aren't willing to do that. So when L2 is so fucking simple that those pieces of shit can use it, then it'll be used and it'll be big and it'll be huge. But until then, it ain't happening. Anyways,
that was funny, bro. That was funny.
Sorry.
I mean, you're right, though. You're right. As sad as it sounds, it's true.
I wish it was better, but like the technology is needed for the
So hold on, guys. Let's talk about this, because this is important, because I found crypto. Let me rephrase. I found HEX because I was learning about the domain name system, and in learning that, I came to find out that you can buy a domain name, hold it for however many years, whatever, sell it for X amount of dollars in the future, whatever nonsense, right? So let's talk about the early internet, right? The early internet. The early internet made so many billionaires, not millionaires, billionaires. Okay, with a B. I'm guesstimating, because of where the dollar is, crypto is going to be the first industry to mint trillionaires. Now you got to remember, there's only one objective here. What's that objective? Do nothing. It doesn't require any effort or thought on anybody's part. You just have to be adept enough to understand what the game is. And the game is really having diamond hands, period. Again, it's a time game, right? It's a waiting game. It's not anything else. Exactly. Diamond hands are real, bro. Like, diamond hands are real. Like, that's why I made these charts, man. Like, I didn't make these charts so people can think they're cute. Like, I want you guys to understand that this shit is real.
Warren Buffett's been saying it for years, man. The market is just a place where people with longer time horizons go to take money from people with shorter time horizons.
100%. Nailed it. 100%. Look at HEX. This chart, excuse me, guys. Let me just clear my throat, because this is just crazy. New York weather. Sorry about that. So let's talk about this chart, because I didn't get to talk about it yesterday, but this chart is going to shock the shit out of people, because I already know where it's going, because I understand this is math. I understand that HEX is going to outperform everything that we know, because it's just math. The network effect is real. Once this gas fee situation gets resolved and we can continue onboarding people, because you got to understand, a lot of the onboarding stops when gas fees are fucking 25% of a transaction, 10%. Yeah, that's crazy.
It's counterintuitive to the liquidity argument that we were just talking about. It's like, exactly. I want little people to get in. I don't want whales to get in right now. And like, I mean, I don't care about them. If they want to buy in, fine. But like, the little people should get in, and like high gas fees just fucking squeezes them out.
Yeah,
like, I mean,
it does. But that's the whole thing, right? This is what sets HEX apart.
It's also a crescendo moment, like I do feel like this is one of those one of those crescendo moments we're coming to right now, because like we have Staker app, right? Kind of, but like making Gnosis safe wallets is expensive and time consuming. So like not everybody that wants to get them right now can get them, because, but this is the time when they want to get them a lot, because there's a lot, It's just that that's
it's
how
that chicken
how
and
shit works.
yeah. I mean, it's crazy because what those guys are doing is crazy, right?
Oh, it's
Like
next level.
they're
Next level
they're
shit.
gonna be like, yeah, I made these charts, but guess what? They're gonna be the reason that HEX really goes up.
Well, that's right, man. I have I have several people fomenting right now
Yeah, me too.
that can't even help them necessarily. And like I know I get it all. Like we've been waiting for a while for them to do what is going to be. They're fixing some L2. They're giving us L2 solutions, kind of. L1.5 solutions. Right now. Which is amazing. I appreciate the shit out of everything they're doing. So it's going to give us a leg up because this is not going to end tomorrow. We want ETH 2.0, but it's not coming until 2022.
23 or 22 or 23. That's right. But that's the thing, right? Like you got to be very aware of where you're standing. Like that's the thing about investing, right? Because this is an investment. This isn't a trade, right? Like a long-term trade is just really an investment. And when you're investing, you have to understand what your time horizon is. You have to understand what it is you're doing. You can't just be in something and then be ready to get out because it doesn't move after a year or two. Like that's not an investment.
Nope.
It's really not. That's just not an investment. It's not straightforward.
Or it's
like,
the first step in your staking ladder.
Yeah, right. Like that's nothing. Like a year is nothing in time, right? Like look at Warren Buffett. He didn't become a billionaire until he was in his 50s.
Yeah. Well, I think you said it on one of your streams. I was watching Wales. Is like we're already 14 months in, man. Like,
and that's nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing.
And look at where it is right now.
I hadn't even bought a pizza with a Bitcoin yet. Like that, they hadn't even done that yet in Bitcoin by then.
I mean, let's go back to the first chart because that first chart shows exactly that. Hold on, because I think
if we just want to go based on pizza math, I mean, Hexologist bought a pizza 3 months in, and it took almost 3 years of Bitcoin to buy a pizza.
About 2 years. No, you're right. About 3 years. Yeah, about 3 years because it came out in January and it was like 2.5.
3 months. 3 months versus 3 years. So we do everything based on months instead of years here at HEX.
Yeah. I mean, just look at this chart, dudes. I mean, this chart is like just beast mode out of the gate. Like it's not relaxing. It's not taking its time. It's going now. And that's what people don't understand. Like it's 4,000% already. Bitcoin is that line that's going across horizontally. I never talk about it because there's nothing to talk about. All there is to talk about is Ethereum and HEX and the T-shares. That's it. And this is the first 416 days. I haven't updated it today, obviously, because we've been streaming since 5. But this is the first 416 days of HEX live on an exchange because I get this data from exchange type data. I get it from coinmetrics.io, and what they provide is exchange data, right? So this is from 12/16/2019 to present day of 2/3/2020. Right, February 3rd, 2020. So I'm not counting the first adoption amplifier days. There are no prices on the chart for that. Right. So where we in Hexland are at like day 432, everybody else is like 16 days behind us. Because that threw me off when I was first putting the charts together. I had to figure that out. Because I wasn't around for the early days, so I didn't know that. So I learned that as I was constructing these charts. So you're actually missing some price action. Right, and it's about 16 days worth, but doesn't even matter because what matters is what's on the chart because it's all really the same. Because that missing piece of data isn't going to alter the structure. You know what I'm saying? It's still going to be what it is. So that this is a point in time where I would like to remind people of Newton's second law. And that second law states an object in motion stays in motion unless otherwise, right?
Rug pulled.
Acted upon by another force.
Correct.
Yep.
Right. So I think this should make my message pretty clear. We'll move on. Let's keep it moving. Let's see here.
I mean, what other force does HEX have that would possibly act upon it to slow it down? Going forward, we have the largest stake coming out March 15th, and then after that, it's fucking literally clear skies then on up. The pieces of shit who who've been dumping are basically all dumped out, and are also all
they are
slowly
dumped
coming
out.
into the
They are
realization.
dumped out.
Yeah, coming to the
And
realization that their idea is vastly inferior to HEX.
oh man, yeah, it's
So,
the copycats are so funny. It's hilarious.
Yeah, the copycats I think is like sideways to down, and Hex has been coming back, so it's kind of in
well, yeah, and you
correlation
can see
with the dumping.
because so much. I mean, I'm a one of the side things that I do in my dirty free time is slime around amongst other projects like that, just quietly creeping, and yeah, it's pitiful. It's there's a lot because so much of their user base was based on our user base.
Yeah.
The truth behind what is good and what is not is very apparent. So like everything, the only thing they can do to try and continue to look good is copy, and like it's just vastly inferior. So I mean, I don't think anybody has anything to worry about in those regards at all.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, here we go. Yes, the first 16 days were only bid desk version 1. They removed all data with their version 2. First day market buy on an extremely illiquid market was very fun to watch. Yeah, I bet, because that price collapse was something serious. I mean, it's like kaput. Like it just went straight down like a pancake. Mr. Big Pep has joined us. Welcome aboard, Mr. Big Pep. So let me talk about this chart, because I think everybody really likes this chart. And this chart is really showing you how T-shares are just ever increasing in value over time, right? And this is them as a percentage of Ethereum by the pink line, and Bitcoin, which is the orange line, right? And what we can see off the bat is just the price differential in value, right? Like Ethereum is the T-shares for Ethereum is 9%. A T-share is 9% of Ethereum, whereas a T-share is 40 bips of a Bitcoin at this point in time, right? But let's look at the big picture, okay? Because it's important we always keep the big picture in mind, because this is why, the analysis is always good when the big picture is in mind, because it keeps the perspective in accordance with what's actually going on, right? So if we look at what the max is for the T-share to ETH line, it's basically 40%, 39.86%. We're currently at 10%, basically 9%, whatever. Now, if you look at this chart, what you're seeing is essentially price is in Ethereum terms, right? Like the T-share price in Ethereum terms is constantly moving higher now. Like it tried to come dip down here, and it hit, I think, maybe 7%, 7.8%, if I remember correctly. A T-share as a value of an ETH. And we saw what happened there. Like it immediately reversed. Like the T-share went down, I think, to like 115, 110 in dollar terms. And the next day it was like at 130. I mean, think about that. That's a $20 move overnight. That's almost 20%. Like 16%. And what's funny, now that you mentioned that 16% number, when we were on the stream yesterday, HEX was up 16+%. Is that a coincidence? Damn, I don't think so, guys. And this is why everybody's going fucking nuts when I talk. Because this shit is not hitting, man. You just gotta look for it.
It's just the reality, man. It's just right there.
It's not hitting. I just know where it's at, bro. Because I've been doing I just have an eye for this shit,
man. And I mean, like, to be fair, dude, like it's not like even Bitcoin's trajectory hasn't been that.
It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing.
Did we not expect this bull run? I've been waiting for fucking 4 goddamn years for this bull run. It better be a good bull run. This better be some motherfucking good ass shit, because I've been waiting a long ass time. Listen, I'm about to be back down in Puerto Rico.
Right? It's about fucking time.
Yeah. I can remember January of 2018 when I was in Puerto Rico thinking about fucking moving that way, and then things didn't go exactly the way that I thought it was going to go, So like now here I am 3 years later thinking, God damn it, this better be a good ass year. So like, yeah, and like, I mean, but the truth is that like the proof is in the pudding, and it has been 3 times, 4 times over, three and a half times over, really. That like this is exactly what it does. That log equation does work, and it's. I mean, you can't. People are going to look back on this shit in 10, 20 years and be like, oh yeah, it was like it was only it
was so obvious.
Exactly.
It's so obvious that people don't believe a single thing, right? And that's why, like, just look at this chart. This is how HEX started at the beginning, right? Like the minimum value for T-shares versus Bitcoin is essentially, that says 0.01, but what you can't see is that's being rounded up. It's actually lower than that by, I guess, 20 bips, which is like I'm sorry. Think of it as 0.2 of a tenth, right? So it's a fraction that you can't even see because it's getting rounded up to 2 decimals. So if it was in 3 decimal format, you can see it's 0.008 something, right? And we went all the way up to 1.12% of a Bitcoin. That's not too shabby, guys. Right?
No, it's not.
Not too shabby at all. Now, this is in the first year of HEX existing. Bitcoin has been around for 12 years, guys. Okay. I mean, I have to stress that this happening at such a very early point in time in the network's growth is very significant because it's a precursor to what's coming. Right? Because you have to understand that this is a proportional thing. It doesn't retract.
No.
Like, look at the internet. The internet never got smaller. Okay.
No, unless the only way that it retracts is if things get shittier, And like in crypto, the only thing
people have to literally leave the network.
People have got, and the only reason why crypto has sucked and people have left the network is because they've lost money, and that has happened a few times over. But I do believe that we are in for a good this year for the next 12 to 18 months or so. That there's going to be very few people, even your most brain dead idiots will most likely make some money. I mean, that's I'm not the financial advice, all the rest, but I think that this is a good time to be purchasing these sort of investments. Now again, strapping yourself to the horse that runs fastest is obviously the most important. And we have it. This is
Are you talking when you say these kinds of investments, Kirk? Are you talking like alts or DeFi specifically?
I think that several different types of commodity style investments in the style of marketplace. Do I think that even people that buy shitty commodities, are going to still make some money? Yeah. Like your precious metals or whatever the fuck else, I think those will go up too.
Okay. I thought you were talking like crypto. You're talking like overall.
No. I think that overall everything is going to go up. I think that crypto is going to go up much higher and faster than stonks and fucking schmetals. But
so what? But I've seen
blue chip cryptos will go up less than say bullshit you've never heard of before. But ours is probably the safest and highest overall. I look forward to another year of us beating the shit out of everything else out there.
Pretty much.
Okay. So that just brings a question to mind because I've seen a few projections out there of the baseball analogy. And I'll just go around the room real quick. What inning do you think we are in I'm not talking Bitcoin specifically, but just in crypto, Bitcoin and alt season, obviously they can rotate every now and then, but this cycle, 1st, 4th, 7th, I've seen all of them really in the past couple of weeks thrown around. Does anybody have a take on it?
I do.
Go ahead. Go on.
I'll go first. I mean, I think that last run, Bitcoin crossed its all-time high between December and January of 2017. before the run happened. You know, we hit $1,200, and that was like, all right, now we're off to the races. You know, so like that's like the in my mind, from me mining, from like my perspective on everything, because I started mining early in 2016, and like ain't shit was going on. You know, I was only into Monero because it was unique and interesting. But nothing was really happening at that point in time. So that was really early innings. So at that point, in my mind, 2017's January was third inning, and like the next 6 innings was that year, you know. And like if you weren't out by obviously January of the next year, then you were left holding the chewed up baseball gum or the wet towel. So in that regard, if that's the same scale that we're talking, I think that this market will be a little bit elongated than the previous one, just slightly, as that previous one was longer than the one before that, and so on and so forth. So I do think that everyone would like to stop playing musical chairs by June of 2022. You know, July of 22. Like if you're not out by then, you should be. If you're playing any short kind of games, that's what I think. But I think that that we're right at that, so the precipice of this the third inning. So we have 6 more innings to go. This whole show could go on for this whole full year, and run right into tax season and the holidays and everything else, just like it did last time. And then the evolution of it, the spinning destruction of everything, will be way longer and more expounded upon because of exactly what HEX gave the network and everybody else copied, and that is lockups and staking. Because of lockups and staking investing periods, essentially, what we'll have is a way longer period and a less of a period of bear market than we've had in the past, because people will be stuck in whatever game that they decided to play. And that's cool because it'll hurt less overall. But it's still gonna hurt.
Where do you think we're at, Vince?
Well, if we're just going by this bull run, I think we're just barely getting started. So I'd say maybe, to me, it just feels like the first inning, really. Yeah, like we're pretty much in uncharted territory when it comes to Bitcoin now. So, yeah, I'm really not sure how far we have to go. So, I think we're just getting started.
Yeah, just from like a technical point of view, like new highs are bullish, and challenging those new highs and not retreating from those immediately is bullish. Yeah. So I would tend to agree with that, but that might speak a little bit more to whales there, just in terms of basic chart analysis. You know what I mean? But it doesn't feel like we're anywhere near like the end. Like we just made new highs, so why would we call the end of it right now?
So just to, like, we talked about this on the stream I did last night. We talked about the Grayscale purchasing Ethereum over the past 4 or 5 days. I mean, I don't know how many billions they bought, but they bought a lot, and they only reported like a period of 24 hours where they bought like 34 million or something like that. But if you look at the price action, man, you see them buying for 4 or 5 days straight. Right? Yeah. So something's not being reported, and that's fine. You can look at the data later when they report it, because they have to relinquish that kind of information. You get to see their holdings and stuff because it's part of their prospectus offerings. Like, it's not hidden information, you know what I mean? Yeah. But it just goes to show exactly what CryptoVest was highlighting. It's just, we really don't know this time. This time around, we don't know how far this bad boy can go, and I'm really like in agreement with all of you guys. I think we're really early innings, early stages, because now people are realizing that the money is here, not even in China anymore. It's here in Cryptoverse, right? So it's, I mean, again,
wow. I love to hear this. This is the first time ever that I am like the least bullish person.
Well, you got to understand, brother. I'm on the other side of the street. I'm on the other side of the street every day. Like I was at work when
No,
we started streaming.
and the more I'm glad I went first, because the more I hear you guys say shit, the more I'm like, maybe the third inning is even a little.
Yeah, no.
Even
Even the third inning is late. I think we're
the
so
only
early
reason
on.
why
It's
the only reason why I still believe that there will be a crash as early as I think, it's going to be a little sooner than we'd like, is because there's still some bullshit that I think is stupid in the market. Like, I do agree with Richard that like NFTs are retarded, and like people will pay.
So let's talk about that.
Pay
Let's talk about
dearly for this. They will pay dearly for that shit. I'm sorry, but
how do you guys think? I mean, look, Hexicans aren't going to feel it, so it doesn't matter from our perspective. But how do you guys think that NFTs? Like, come on, we know what they are. We don't have to get into details, but just from a market perspective, because I do understand that there are some that can have, right, some value. I get it. Like, they'll be your onesies and twosies, right?
It's the ones that Matty Allen and Joe Hexotic made for Hexicans.
Yeah.
Those are the valuable
I've
ones.
seen, I've trolled in some fucking shitty DeFi projects, and I see what they do. They like release these NFTs that are like, that give you, like, you could get, like, imagine the HEX that's out there, but like, if you got this particular NFT, you get an extra 2% interest or something on a stake that you stake out. I mean, it sounds retarded. Like there's this like whole silly gamification to it, but like that's what they're doing, is they're over gamifying things, and by doing that, they really add in all this fucking game theory that can, in the end, wreck them really fucking hard. It's really bad to play with this kind of shit. But I see where they're going with it, or where they think they can pull value from it, because like, you get X benefits on the network because whole Y, and well, you don't actually know what the fuck X benefit is, like, when overly wielded, is going to do to your network. You have no idea what that's going to do. You're just trying to make some money in the short term, selling some fucking JPEGs, that have some qualities like Magic the Gathering card, and like it's really dangerous, and it doesn't belong in finance. Like, everything about that should be like way ahead of time warned to people.
Run away
to people, like, you will lose all your money here. Somebody is going to do better.
I think Abra would like to debate you, Big Shark, on NFTs.
I mean, that's a valid point.
No, you're right.
That's really all I know of NFTs. I only know JPEGs. I don't know anything else for NFTs. So enlighten me. I mean, I don't know.
I can understand things for games that are fun or whatever, but like, I really don't like these ideas.
Gaming stuff. Okay, yeah. I get that.
But the problem is that like the gaming costing asinine amounts of money is just like stupid gambling to me, with like so many levers and dials that like you lose. Like who the fuck is, like, when there's two, like, it's hard enough to win at fucking blackjack at the fucking poker table, all right? Like now you're gonna add in so many levers and dials and pixie fairies with this power and this strength and what the fuck ever, that like is just gonna get everybody like that is dumb and buying into this shit annihilated, And I mean, like, it doesn't seem like that's like, it doesn't seem like video game playing that I want to be playing in. Or if you're thinking about it, like, because the truth of it is that most people they're thinking about it like games, but when you're paying gas fees to do all this shit, you're really thinking of it like a financial fucking investment. And like, and it's not. It's just not. You're gonna lose all your money. But I do like the idea of NFTs for like badges and award shit, for like the fun of it, like what Joe and Maddie are doing for the straight fun of it. Oh, you get a 555 award badge because you staked 555. Cool, that's nifty and cool to ourselves. But
you know what? Now that you mention that, here's an idea for the guys at Staker app. No pressure, guys. Might be an idea to add a feature in there where it gives you a badge for your level of what is it, league level or something? You know what I'm talking about?
Exactly. Like that.
Taking leagues.
Well, that's almost its own badge in a sense, right?
Right. It is its own badge already. Why not make it an NFT? That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that just some code? I don't know how to do that blockchain coding yet, but I'll get there eventually. But those guys know.
That's cool. And like I do understand that like there's a certain dynamic about NFTs that like people are gonna argue with what I'm saying a lot. I get that. But like I just don't. I wish that there was a way to like really make sure that people were very aware that like that shit is not exactly a financial instrument that should be used to secure. Like if you think that Beanie Babies are a secure financial future, well then let me introduce you to the fucking the digital fucking fedoras that I'm selling on because bro, I got a shit ton of digital fedoras, these orange ass fedoras at like 2 cents a piece fucking a year ago, and now they're supposed to be worth $20 a piece. And like I'm telling you, I never bought a fedora in my whole life that's worth $20, let alone a digital one. You know, so who the fuck's? It just seems dangerous as shit. I mean, I don't think it's a financial instrument. That's all. I mean,
yeah.
But again, is World of Warcraft gold financial instrument? No, but motherfuckers made money on that shit, you know. So what do I know? What the fuck do I know? Anyways, Party Possum is like his spinner here is like he doesn't like where I'm going with this. He says NFTs are cool. I disagree. I mean, I got some Beanie Babies right over here, man. I got some Beanie Babies right over here. I'm actually at my grandma's house right now. I got an original Tabasco and Weenie Beanie Baby over here.
I have no idea what that means, but yeah.
Be glad. I got my Pokemon cards downstairs. This is I'm where I used to grow up. So like, I got a Pokemon card collection. I was really stoked to get my hands on to, because those bitches popped up to the moon recently. I also had several graphics cards over here from mining back in the day. So those bitches are pricey as hell too. If anybody here has any graphics cards that they are not using, let me tell you what your graphics cards are worth to you right now. Go on eBay right now and sell them, people, please. No financial advice, but like
life advice.
But they're worth a lot of money, man. Like cards that I had mining in 2017 that I bought for like $120 a piece are selling right now for like $399, $400. You know, like what the yeah. That's because the Ethereum like gas fees. Like you wonder who's getting those gas fees. Like miners are getting those gas fees. And like I don't recommend you set up a mine, because like if you wanted to go set up a mine right now, you're gonna pay insanely inflated prices for these graphics cards, and then you're gonna get nothing. But like if you have a card running right now, if you have a graphics card in your computer running right now, like you'll make, you know, I would recommend, you know, in your off time turning it on and joining a pool and making a little Ethereum, because like you make a pretty good amount like right now. I mean like.
Yeah.
Per mega hash that your graphics card is putting out, you're making like over 10 cents, like 12 cents right now per mega hash, which like used to be like in the bear market, like you'd make like 12 cents per graphics card that was doing 30, 40 mega hashes, you know. So
we were talking about what stage we were in the cycle, and I believe we had a guest request that wanted to offer his take on that.
Sure.
What is up, Senor Pep?
Whoa.
Yeah, Big Pep, tell us.
Grande Pep.
Welcome aboard, sir.
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, we can hear you, bro.
All right. Hey, I'm driving, so fill me in. I haven't been tuned in most of the show. What are we talking about here?
Well, the most recent topic, we went around the room and it was just like, where do you think we are with the current cycle? Like just in terms of a baseball analogy, like first inning, fourth inning, seventh inning, that kind of thing.
Oh, let me tell you, man, I don't give a shit. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Because I'm looking to the future. I did some math today, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Here we go.
Spreadsheets. It's some magic math. You guys are gonna love it. It's not the moon math. That's super crazy. It's actually So if you got 1,000 T shares right now, which I know some of the early adopters do. I know the newcomers probably don't have as much. That's cool, but we'll get to that in a minute. 1,000 T shares at a penny hex. It's about 5.5 to 6 hex per T share, which is what we've been getting. You're going to earn about $23,000 in interest this year. I mean, show me an asset class.
None. None.
Now let's whittle it down a little bit to some of the new coiners that are being, oh man, I don't have 1,000 T shares. It's just out of the realm of possibility. Okay, that's fine. Even like 100 T shares, right? You're going to make 50% on your current stake if the hex holds at about 5.5, 6 hex per T. I think that's just a big picture item that people tend to miss because they get so fixated on price. I do it too. I refresh the Staker app so much, my phone's got a freaking groove screen. And I ask myself why. I'm like, well, why are you doing this? What are you going to do with this, right? Let's say hex hits 50 cents or $1. There's a few stakes I could probably emergency end stakes to make it worth my while, but for the most part, I'm locked in. Right? I nuke not many. I think that people tend to forget here, and this trustless interest that people earn, that is the game. We talk about game theory, big picture game theory. You guys are talking about the innings. I'm talking about like the World Series. You got to think about the big picture on. I mean, I get all the short-term price points and plays in the field. Right now, all coins are running up crazy. There's a lot of stuff going on, and that's all cool. I think the thing is, price it fluctuates even like 1 to 2 cents. So take that 1 penny I just was talking about. Let's bump it up just to 2 cents, which we saw on New Year's Eve. Now that 22, you're looking at what, $45,000. I mean, that's an income for a lot of people today. I think the average in America is not much more than that. And that's just interest for sitting there and doing nothing. Just
that's the best part.
It is. But people seem to get so fixated on this. Well, my principal. I gotta pull the crypto, parachute and dump and run. And that's not the name of the game in HEX. It's very counterintuitive to what we're accustomed to in crypto. It really is not, to be honest.
Yep, that was part of the conversation earlier on.
What they want. We still got to give the people what they want and talk the moon math, Big Pap. We still got to give them what they.
It's all about ratings, man. Come on, man.
But we're trying to keep the numbers up here.
Oh man!
And analogies, it speaks to a broader audience. But I appreciate you.
We were talking about that earlier, man. 1475. That's how many T shares is a full-time $15 an hour job every year.
Right. Yeah, that was a number. Right. So, Big Pep, check it out. I got a story that I shared with the stream earlier. I don't know if you caught it. You probably didn't. No. So, one of my coworkers, I put her on the HEX, and all she did was put $150 in at first, $155 to be honest. She just went did the initial just to do the transaction. This was 90 days ago, so Ethereum fees weren't, an arm and a leg. So it maybe cost her $10 or $8 to do like her first buying a HEX or whatever. She bought like $6 worth, maybe $2 in fees, right? Then the next day she bought 150 plus worth, and she's looking at it today, and she's thinking that she had spent 400, right? Because she didn't understand how to read the blockchain. So when I help her figure it out, and she realizes she only spent $150, and then looks at the fact that she has 200 in a Staker app, it clicked like never before. And that's exactly what you're talking about. That income aspect of HEX just makes everything irrelevant.
Yep.
I mean,
that's what people really want. That's why I said it before. That's why I started mining. I mean, it's for passive income.
But that's the funny thing. We're talking about, this is the funny thing. We're talking about moon math. People want to hear moon math. This is the actual moon math.
Mm-hmm.
This is the actual moon math. The actual moon math is an interest. You get way more interest nowadays than you can from any kind of pump.
People be dreaming. If I tell old people that like they can get anything more than 6% interest, and they tell you to go fuck yourself, pretty much.
Exactly.
Where's the scam? Like, where's it bad?
Yeah, they're like, yeah, exactly. Whose pocket are you taking that out of? And you're like, you swear to God.
Let's talk about this chart. This chart here is the pink chart, shows the APY for HEX since inception. So it looks like since inception, we started at what looks like looks like 5% or so, 4 or 5% area. Then it ratchets higher with the T-shares, which is interesting, right? Because that seems to be the trend pretty much the whole time. So I'm curious. I don't know if this is what's going to happen, because as you guys know, the APY is also a function of the staking, right? The more people that stake, the less APY you get.
So the staking, now, a lot of it has to do, in my mind, with the time of people's stakes and them expiring. Because really, the way that number, the APY, goes up, that is by over time, people are going to unstake over the next 5 years. You know, the average stake length is 5 years, 4.9 or something like that. So in that first 5 years, you know, as people unstake, well, they're going to, like, there'll be less people diluting the pool. And so because of that, eventually the stakes that are left will get more. So because of that, and the people that come in later, that, like, again, as people leave, they'll restake, but they'll restake at a shittier rate
for less, and you're still getting all of those T-shares. Your T-share rate didn't change.
Eventually the APY will go up because they're getting a shittier rate as they come back into the system, and the people who were in the system before are getting a larger rate. So, like, eventually,
so that APY is truly dynamic. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So as the T-shares are deflationary, because
I mean, it's showing it right here on the chart.
The APY will slowly go up. You know, so like, that's a really, I mean, the only thing that could, if there was some sort of, you know, black swan event where the origin address decided to stake a lot for some reason, but other than that, if that doesn't happen, then as we see, eventually the APY will go up. And, like, really in HEX, the winning stakes are anybody that beats the average. Because if you're beating the average, once the average is the middle ground of amount of stakes. So once half of all the stakes have left and restaked at a shittier rate, well, then the people that are still in, so the 5 to 15 year stakes, will start to gain on that. That APY will start to go up exponentially for them. You know, because they'll start to gain, they'll become a larger percentage of the pool at an exponential rate as that system continues. People unstake, and they unstake and have to restake at a shittier rate, so the T-share rate goes lower. But theirs, because they've been holding those T-shares longer, will continue to get better and better rates over time on their T-shares. It's one of, like, those hidden, like, those that get in early and stake longer. If you beat the average, it's not just the bigger pays better bonus. It's when you beat the average is when your returns become exponential. You know, you start to really go up you start to ramp up. It's more, you know, at a much.
You know, what's funny is anymore. As you explained it, as you explained that process, what came to mind to me was like a machine that, as people left, right, think about the interest rate as like you know, that lottery ball picking machine. That's what actually came to mind when you were explaining this, because as people leave, you seem to get their shares, right? You seem to get the HEX that they're gonna get to a degree.
Because this can be affected if the general public starts to figure this shit out.
Well, right, for sure.
If everybody starts staking, like, tomorrow, nothing but 15-year stakes, 10 to 15-year stakes start happening. Well, then that average staking length is going to get longer and longer and longer, and then the time at which you'll be able to get exponential shares will be pushed out further. So, like, that can change. That's, like you said it best. It's dynamic. So like me telling everyone this information is, like lets everyone know that like, hey, the best way to really do this is to it's Richard has said it from the get-go. It is a
Oh no.
Oh, we lost Big Kirk. Oh wait, what?
Hey, you know what?
Himself.
You guys are spot on with that. And here's the thing: this is human behavior with everything in life. That I mean, it's true in gold. It's true in girlfriends. It's true in S&P 500. It doesn't matter. Bitcoin today, okay? Let's use that because we're staying on crypto. There's sold Bitcoin at $100 thinking they got out on the top that are trying to in today, and guess what? They're getting less and less Bitcoin. If they just held the stack they had, in anything, you could have bought Apple stock or Amazon years ago. How many of those people that got in early are still in today? Most of them are not, because we get what we want and we leave, and then we run out of that gratification and we come back, and we run out of what gains we had. And we come back, we want more. And what's going to happen with HEX is right now you got billions of tokens. Everybody's trying to get hundreds of thousands or millions of HEX, and then those people are going to wash out over time because as HEX ratchets up in price. We saw this on New Year's Eve with that 2-cent, price wake up. Didn't last but a couple seconds, and some people cashed out $200,000 and thinking they got out on the top. And then when HEX hits 50 cents a dollar, maybe a year from now, maybe not even that far, or a couple years, they'll be looking back with regret, going, "Damn it, why did I dump my bag? I want to get in and get some more. Well, I better buy in at this price point before it runs up even further." And that's true with everything that we invest in. And like I said, it's human behavior with all aspects of life. So it's to be expected when it comes to HEX as well.
Yeah, I believe that as people realize how the system works, like that 5-year 4.9, and we've already seen it increasing over time. So like you think you're going to get some exponential rate growth, because you're going to beat the average by doing a 6-year stake. Well, by 3 years into the system, more people will know to stake longer, and that number will get pushed out. So like, but it's really going to be an average between 5 and 15 years somewhere, depending on how well our adoption goes and how well our growth happens over the next 5 years, that number will be pushed somewhere between 5 and 15 years. It'll be somewhere in between. It can't obviously go all the way to 15 anymore, but it'll be further out than it is now, I believe, because people will understand the system and will stake longer.
Yeah. I don't want to go too far over because Joe Hexotic just went live, so I don't want to overrun him. I want to try to be courteous. And man, I mean, past couple happy hours, man, have turned into multiple happy hours. So this is just outstanding.
This is great.
One thing I did want to put out there before we, maybe tie it up in a little bow is that March 15th stake or end stake, that goalpost that we've been talking about for weeks now. Johnny Chaos / Hex Fabio put out a tweet last night, and I think it was just like a guesstimate, but he was trying to guesstimate, and that he was asking around today for verification of the maths, but what the T-share rate would go to after that. And that is
about that yesterday too.
Yeah, I mean, that is such an interesting dynamic because yes, we have the HEX price, and those on the outside can, they might be oblivious to it, but those who have T shares, you probably want to be staked before then, I would think, because that jump. But it's just like how much, like it's a just one more dynamic to the game theory that's just wonderful, I think.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it adds value, right? It just, like, look at this chart. This chart right now is what I'm showing is what would be the equivalent of the hash rate for Bitcoin, which is a yellow line. But for HEX, it is the T-share rate over the value of HEX in dollar terms. And that is versus the other line, which is the pink line, which is just the value of the T-shares. Now, what I want you guys to notice is the margin on the T-share line, right? The left side, the left-hand margin. What do you guys notice there? Those series of numbers look familiar, don't they? Just look at that margin, because this is why people go nuts when I do these things. Look at that left-hand margin, left-hand side, and tell me what you see at every break.
Like the exponential doubling.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. Now look at the price and then look at the axes.
Yes.
That's the log-based 2 function. And this is why people are like, holy shit, this motherfucker isn't crazy. Right? So once I can figure out how to, because Maddie pointed this out to me, shout out to Maddie. He pointed this out to me yesterday. The supply for HEX is extremely transparent. While it is still dynamic, I should be able to take all of the supply that's coming out of the system and be able to kind of forecast what the stock to flow model could look like, because again, it's dynamic, right? So it's not going to be a guaranteed lock once it's done because even the T-share rate, like even that little squiggly line for the T-share changes from day to day, because the T-shares change from day to day because they get more expensive. There's less, there's more, whatever have you. Like the system is ever changing, and it changes with our behavior as a collective unit, believe it or not. So that's why it's important to understand the network effect, because that's really what drives value. It's not, how many coins there is. It's not that. Like, people need to understand that. It's really not that. I used to think that. But if that was the case, then why would Celsius be at 5? Right? Because there's an infinite amount of that coin. Yep. So it's clearly not that. And that is a common misconception that people have when it comes to markets. It's just not how they work. So there you go. That's my spiel. But this chart shows you every time every time the T-share rate resets, you get a big bump in the price. That's what this chart is showing. Because the first 353 days until big payday, it was just a slow upwinding slope. It was just a slow slope. It wasn't anything really crazy, right? Like the rise over run is very minimal. Then when you get the big payday, you get that reset, right? And the question is,
hang on, guys, you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yeah, I just had to get out of my car, so I'm not sure if I lost the connection. But yeah, I think that the T-share rate, the T-share pricing after the March stake that everybody's really kind of focused on right now, it's going to wake up a good bit, but I think you're going to see, as we gain adoption, right, and we're going to see it go exponential probably in the next year. I think that thing's going to wind up being trivial over the next year or so. If we start getting more and more, we're getting a lot more retail investors into crypto. It's getting a lot of popularity in general.
That is true.
Yeah. And as we get, like you were saying, somebody was saying earlier about, more people staked and this type of thing, I think what we'll see is the offset. The T-share price is going to get really expensive to where even getting one T-share is going to be unaffordable for a lot of people. It maybe seems kind of silly now to think that way, but look at the T-shares today compared to what they were in the launch phase.
Right.
Think about 100 T-shares today is expensive.
Yeah, if HEX goes to $1, like a system that pays out, $6 a day to somebody just for fucking a minimal investment wouldn't make sense, So it would be expensive to get a T-share for sure.
Yeah, that is what makes sense. Yeah. You're right. Both of you guys are right, because that is what makes sense.
I think at that point, the HEX devs may even go as far as adjusting the front end to show to display B shares instead of T shares.
Yeah, can you guys talk about that? I keep hearing about all these different shares, but I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know anything about this stuff.
Well, so T shares just stands for trillions of shares. So if we can get if it's really hard to get a trillion shares, then eventually people will be willing to denominate their shit in billions of shares.
I get it now. So it's
moving it over.
Richard is smart enough. The point of all of the units in HEX is to not have the problem that we have in it's something that we don't talk about that much, but
yeah, looks like we lost Big Kirk.
Now, what he's saying though is I see where he's going with that. You know, if you remember, Richard tweeted not too long ago, "What if you couldn't afford even one hex?"
Yeah.
And I think what he's referring to is, you know, let's say that there's a lot of people staked, maybe not the OA, maybe partial, and we're down to 1 hex per T-share payout a day instead of 5 or 6 like we see right now. But you can't afford a T-share because they're so expensive.
So you can't even get one.
You can't even get one T-share. Maybe you're buying those billions of shares. So now you're actually getting less than 1 hex per day if it's 1 hex per T-share, but you only got, say, 100 billion T-shares.
You know what's crazy? I haven't even thought this part yet.
Wait a second. Are you making Wales even more bullish than what he already was before the stream? And just a couple hours ago, he got more bullish. And now, how is it possible that I think you just made him more bullish?
I'm telling you, man, I'm hoping it's kind of forward thinking. I mean, by design, really, if you see the way the math works out in this, and even like, you know, Richard's talked many times about how it's a long-term marathon, system, right? It's not this whole pump and dump, get rich quick. I mean, I see a lot of YouTubers out right now promoting other altcoins, a lot of the big name guys like Chico and stuff. I mean, it's just a flurry of altcoin mania. Yeah. And most of it just wicks up for no reason because the market's hot.
Pep, you know what's funny? You know what's funny? You mentioned that. But here's one thing I don't know if you're on Twitter. I know some of us are, but on Twitter, you even see it. You see it all the time with the tweets, people asking, what's your favorite altcoin? And it's always some fucking YouTuber asking that. Always. I don't know if you guys see it, but I see it all the time.
Hey, Wales only. He is at Big Pep Crypto on Twitter. Follow him, everyone, if you are not.
Big Pep Crypto, please, guys. Thanks. YouTube as well. Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, man, you definitely got it right on that one. It's definitely all season for them. They're pumping and dumping them like crazy.
Yeah, man. I'm saying I think that, you know, and even getting in today into HEX, I think you're still an early adopter. I mean, obviously, you did a deal a year ago, but you're still getting in good now. If you can get a T-share at all, I think you're good to go.
I mean, a T-share, I don't know what it costs right now, but today it has to be probably like $180 or so. Let's check. I don't know. Let's check. Let's see.
It's like 160, I thought, maybe.
Something like that, yeah.
Let's see. GraphX has us squared away. Let's see.
Yeah, we're still way early for sure.
Okay. We had a nice little down move. Very good. Look, this is something I said earlier. HEX is the only financial community I've ever seen where a down day is a good day. And that speaks volumes. Volumes. I cannot. I cannot stress enough how insane that is. That's the antithesis of investing. You guys need to understand that. Like, that's how bullish this shit is. Like, you got to understand how crazy that sounds, because you got to realize I spent 10 years trading markets. So this shit makes no sense to me. But it's reality.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Oh, yeah.
It's
I mean,
reality.
It was you know, there's people looking in on us on Big Payday. People that don't fully understand what was happening saw us streaming, doing our 24-hour stream, like literally toasting and, you know, popping bottles when the price is going.
Exactly.
The price is fucking tanking.
Like, fuck yeah, dump that shit, baby.
Yeah, it's not as if the band is playing on the Titanic. It's not like that at all. It's not like that at all. It's
We're
like the fucking
happy.
party is just getting fucking started, you know?
Exactly.
Great.
I mean, look, I don't know about you guys, but I love it when the price goes down because I get to buy more.
Well, you know that somebody is selling, and fuck them.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Thank you for selling, because you don't understand what you're selling.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's the yeah, exactly. I feel bad for them, you know, because they're missing out. Yeah, exactly.
But that's the beauty, right? That's the game theory once again doing its work, because there's going to be people like us that understand, that are always going to be there to catch it. Like, like you got to look at this chart. Like, you got to look at this chart from a big picture perspective. This thing does not have a bear market. It doesn't. It retraces and keeps going, and it never makes a new low. That's very important to understand, because that's market structure. Until that changes, that's truth. People need to understand that, because I've tried to buy, price retest, like bottom retest and all that stuff. It shit does not happen in this market.
Really hard. Yeah.
It does not happen, man. And I was just like, what the hell is this? And I had to learn that really quick because you're trying to maximize the number of coins you're getting, right? Because that's really the easiest way to maximize the T-shares. So you're not trying to pussyfoot. So you got this going on, and you're like, holy crap, I really need to figure this out. And when you see that thing move, you're like, all right, let me stop fucking around and just hit that market. That's it.
Oh yeah, exactly. And like, I mean, perfect example was, again, back to that 24-hour stream, like when the price dipped, Hex was like, oh, hang on, guys, let me go buy some right on stream here. Boop, buy it. Oh, and like, where did he buy it? Almost the exact low. Like,
I remember that. That was awesome.
Yeah. It's just, and like, it's not like Hex is not claiming to be a fucking genius here. It's not like he's got charts and this and that. He's just like, price go down, I hit buy. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's that easy. Like,
it is.
yo, like let me say that. Let me give you guys these numbers again. My colleague spent 150, made 33%, and is in the red in terms of price by like 10%.
Price down, value up. That's fucking great.
Like, people don't understand. There is no reason not to expect Hex to go parabolic. Like, you have to understand, interest rates do not exist on this planet.
Not like this.
Like, let me speak about myself a little bit. Just so I went to a school, the university I went to, the first college I went to was like, that business school was a fixed income, like, powerhouse. Like, what we learned there was interest rate stuff. Like, interest rate products was our thing. Like, that's what these guys, like, that's what we talked about all day, because that's what we understood. Fixed income. So when I'm telling you guys, there is no reason to sell this shit, man, you're gonna fucking be happy you listened. Because let me tell you something, this does not exist anywhere else. I don't know how else to stress this. It does not exist anywhere else. No, we're talking about greater than 10% rates, man.
You're 100% right. I mean, people selling today are selling Bitcoin at $1. They need to recalibrate.
Oh my God! At best.
Yeah, at best. Yeah. Maybe Bitcoin at 10 cents. They need to think about that. Yeah.
It's crazy, Big Pep. I mean, it doesn't make any sense because you're throwing away value.
I mean, but again, I get it in the sense that, like, if you told somebody that when they were buying 100,000 Bitcoin at $1, or 10 cents even, hey, this shit's gonna be worth 40 grand someday, they'd have been like, hey, you can go fuck yourself right now.
Probably.
There's not even
like
a
Charlie Shrem story with that or something.
Oh yeah, he did it. I was at a fireside chat they had at some conference with him, where he was like, literally, he's like, man, all my friends ask me all the time, like, why didn't you tell me to buy Bitcoin when it was at $1? And he's like, bitch, you would have sold it at $2.
That story never gets old.
That's funny. Yeah. I never heard that one before. That's funny.
I mean, it's fucking truth, man. And that's what Hex has that nothing else does, is that, like, okay, like Richard said it, man, like, does Bitcoin have the ability to time lock? Yes, but what happens? You just can't spend your coins. That sucks. Does Hex have the ability to time lock? Yes, and you get paid for it, and it lends the value out to the network, and everyone is happier for it. That's infinitely better, because like no one uses time locking because it sucks in Bitcoin, and then because of that, like, the only thing you can't do, I mean, and to be fairly honest, if you do time lock your coins, it's better, because like then you can't sell, and then later you would have lots more money, but that like telling people that, like, to believe that for the sake of believing is really hard for people. It's just, I mean, even if you are a firm maxi believer, it's still really hard, so having someone say, like, you can believe that and get rewarded for it, they're like, oh well, fuck, that's okay.
That's brand new.
Mm-hmm.
That's brand new.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you guys gotta understand, like, the majority of the DeFi stuff is based off a stable coin. It's not based off of a coin that only goes up, or just a coin in general that goes up, right? Like, I think there might be a couple. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, and Ethereum is like, is a commodity coin in the sense that, like,
it is a commodity coin. And you can see it in the return streams. You can see it in the return stream because it's very slow.
Yeah, so,
it's slow as hell. It's like a turtle. It doesn't go up fast.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's great. But, like, I'm not saying it's a stable coin by any means. You've done very good.
No. Right. No, not at all.
But it has a consistency that is like, that's the other thing it's paired in, and that everything is paired in is either a stable coin or a commodity coin, which is, so like, by the nature of it, if you're a good product, you should go up a lot. You should beat those.
I mean, that's kind of why HEX is so obvious, right? Because it's a good product. It does what it's supposed to do. Pays you a high yield. It's designed to pay you a high yield for a long time. Because let's be honest, T-shares go up every day, and they're already breached the 3-digit mark. When I got involved, it was 2 digits. It was like $50 when I got involved with T-share, and I wish I understood it then so much, because it's 200% more expensive now. And this is, hold on, this is 90 days ago, folks.
That's only 90 days ago. That's just crazy.
It's like 100 days ago. Okay. Like, I'm not joking. This is
it blows my mind that it was a year ago that we were buying them for $1 or $2 a piece. Like, that shit's fucking mind blowing.
When I saw that shit went as low as 60 cents, I could not believe it. Because at that point, I understood.
Once you're looking at it because you understood. You're like,
exactly.
Wait a minute. Where did this shit go?
About 13 months ago, I was paying 3 cents for gas fees.
I remember those. I remember those 3-cent gas fees. That shit was crazy.
That's a fairy tale now, man.
Right now, anyway.
Was that Big Bet?
I think gas is the big deterrent right now for everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
Even if I want to go put like $1,000 in and I got to pay $100 in freaking gas fees.
Yeah, it's redundant.
It is. It's like fuck me dead. I'm like, why can't I just get back to at least like $10 gas fees would be
Well, it makes people a lot. When people tell you like, oh, just wait for the dip. Well, it makes it just in the same way that I tell you, hey, you'll make more off your Bitcoin if you hold it longer. And you say, yeah, that's cool to know. And I'll say, hey, you'll make more off your HEX if you hold it longer, and we'll give you interest if you do that. You say, oh, well, I'm in. In the same way with gas fees, if you're like, hey, man, buy the dip. But then you just see the prices going up and up and up and up. You're like, it's really hard to buy this dip when I just keep watching prices go up. But if you're like, hey man, buy the dip, and if you want to buy the pump right now, it's going to cost you $100. They're like, all right, I think I can wait for the dip. You're like, now it's a lot easier to wait for the dip now, huh? Who would have thought? It's fucking crazy.
I mean, what's the good thing about the T-shirts is at least they fluctuate in value. So I appreciate that, because it at least allows us to at least be able to be like, okay, T-shirts are cheap. Let's make a sizable donation to the interest fund, right? Because look, I've spent my whole life like telling myself, this is what I'm going to do, because I've been trading for too long. I need to slow down. You gotta get your life together, blah blah blah. And HEX, man, it forces you to do that, because damn it combines everything, man. It's such a cheating ass coin. I hate it. It's like you can't defeat it, man.
I've never heard it that way, but yeah. I mean, it's a life hack.
Yeah. Dude, like I was saying, I spent 60 days literally trying to find the holes in this thing. Like, how can somebody make a better coin? And the reality is they cannot. And the funny part is I didn't even know the math at that point. The math, I figured it out like literally days before I told everybody about it. So this shit is just bananas, and people don't understand that once this beast comes out of its shell, it's gonna be this move. We were talking about this last night. This is why people are like, this guy is stupid, bullish, whatever. I sound like a moron, and I understand it. I completely do. But people have to understand this is just math. This is not a function of anything in terms of opinion.
That's the first April move, right?
Right. Yeah. This is that mid-April move. Yep. I'm merely stating that when this type of move does happen, because here's the thing. we looked at the way, like the guys remembered yesterday that there was going to be a stake ended, that a stake ended in the middle of March last year also that affected the share rate, right? And I think we even see it here. Yeah, it was that dip. This is that dip that it happened on the 12th. The dip happened on the 12th. And then on the 13th, that it made that low, and then the market just took off from there. And as you guys can see, the T-share rate kind of paused here before it just took off. But on the price chart, let's look at the price chart. I mean, man, HEX is just so beautiful. Hold on, let me get the other one. I like the I like to do the look on the where's my boom. Okay, so this is March 12th, this is March 13th, and this is the day it put the low in, right? And from then on, as you guys can see, this is what we were talking about yesterday. This is why it ended up being like a crazy conversation. If you guys look here, I'm gonna zoom in just because I want to show it to you guys. And this is called a fractal pattern, what I'm about to show you guys. And a fractal pattern is prevalent everywhere in nature, including your own body, your fingers, your nose, your lips, your ears, your skeleton is a fractal. So the things I'm talking about are so deep that they cannot be refuted. Like, this is what I want you guys to understand. This is very serious work. This is not something that you can just make up. This is very real. So I'm going to zoom in here. And what we're going to look at now is just how this rectangle looks just like what just happened now at 1.5 cents at the high and 2.2 cents on the high on December 31st, because it's the same slanted formation that we're looking at in this rectangle. Only really in a bigger, longer, drawn out form in this bull flag that proceeds after that little rectangle, right? So we're looking at exactly this pattern that we're about to see in a much bigger time frame, right? So what we're looking at, it looks like price is going nowhere when you're looking at it on a bigger picture, right? It looks like it's going nowhere. Like if you zoom out.
Oh, big picture, yeah.
Looks like you're going nowhere. Yeah. And that's why it's important now. That's why I want you guys to see it zoomed in. Because when you zoom it in, it looks entirely different. Jesus, why can't I get the angle now? It looks entirely different when you zoom it in. Entirely different. You can clearly tell this thing is only going up, right? Like it's not a secret, right? So now you're looking at this big bull flag. That's all this is. This is a big old bull flag. And all that means, that's just, let me explain something about technical analysis, because I understand the community's disregard for it. I do, because you know, you don't understand it. And people normally treat it as it's like if it's some, I don't know, some hocus pocus nonsense, and it's really just a game of probability, right? That's really all this is, because technical analysis is when we're looking at something that's happened in the past, and what we're doing is we're trying to determine what is the activity that has occurred and what will this activity lead to. That's what we're really doing when we're looking at a chart, because it's already happened. It doesn't matter, right? So the question then is, well, what's happened and who gives a fuck? That's the real question, right? So this chart is showing a big ass bull flag. Now, what the hell does that mean? That doesn't mean anything to anybody unless you understand it, right? Now, what we're seeing here is straight accumulation, right? And that accumulation is happening over a big period of time, right? And that's the important part here. It's the quantity of accumulation over time. This is math, people, because what's happening here is that there's going to come a point where we're going to reach that endpoint where you can no longer just go sideways and up. It's going to come a point where it's going to go parabolic again, like it did here. You get what I'm trying to say? Like
I get it.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Like this thing is like a big wave. It just moves in patterns, and it's just a wave that evolves with the adoption of the network over time, and it's just a natural thing. And that's what I'm trying to explain. Like, it has nothing to do with pumpamentals. It has nothing to do with hopium. It's going to naturally happen.
It took a lot less time for the tide to go out, in a sense, for that last one. But now the tide is going way out, and now you're going to get a tsunami.
Right.
It's just when it's going to happen.
Correct.
Yeah. The bigger the base, the higher the space, man.
Yeah. And that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Like, there's a reason they have those little sayings. Like, they're not made up for fun. Like, they mean something.
Yep.
Right? Like, we learn in that way. Like, humans have always learned in rhyme, right? Like, there's a reason we sing things as children. So it's important we recognize how these little trivial things are really not that trivial, because they mean something, especially when it comes to a long-term point of view, because that's what we're trying to have here. Now, when you sit there and you think about all of the HEX that has been accumulated in stake over this period of time, because that's what we're looking at, there's going to come a point in time where this is going to essentially careen into a wall and bounce upward, right? Because that's how the function works, right? This is a parabolic function. The log-based 2 function. Oh, let's pull that bad boy up, because I love talking about that. Because this is what that is, right? This is not, me. This is what that is. Where is it? And this is what I need people to understand. This is it. Like, this is not, this is not my opinion. This is just what it is, right? Like, this log-based 2 chart is exactly that function that is HEX. Right. And this is what I want people to understand. Like, this is why people are going bananas, because I'm showing you literally right here with the values as they go. Like, this is real, right? This is real math. This is not my opinion. This is not me. I'm just showing you the math. You see? So it's just going to happen. It's not a matter of if. It's just, okay, we're just going to wait. That's all. It's exactly like Richard says. It's just a waiting game.
Delayed gratification, my man.
And that who can wait the best wins the most. And that's all.
Sounds so simple, doesn't it?
It does.
Compared to, real life situations and whatever people have going on with their lives, and, and time horizons and end stake dates. I mean, there's so much at play here, but when you put it like that, it's like, man, if you're staked out for years, you don't have to worry about that.
Nope.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about anything, really.
Yep.
I mean, it's pretty much all null and void. You just really need to understand what the game is. You need to understand that this is merely a logarithmic function that is playing out, and we're looking at it too closely to understand that. And the thing about it is like, everybody in the HEX community is so smart that I felt motivated enough to be able to come out and tell it, right? Because I don't think I could have went into. I've been a part of other crypto communities. I was around for the early crypto days, right? Like, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. This shit does not exist. It did not exist until HEX. Period. I am not making it up. Richard can confirm it. Big Kirk can confirm it. Anybody that's been around longer than 5 years in crypto can let you know. There wasn't a YouTuber presence. The shit did not exist before 2017. So the things I'm talking about, these are little kids. They don't fucking know anything, right? You got to realize that.
Anybody can be a table napkin chartist. You know what I mean?
Well, that's true. You don't got to be a little kid for that. That's very
true. But that's like, to your point. That's what we see, and it's like, oh well, you see all these. I call them poorly drawn charts, and it's like basic analysis. You know what? I'm fine with understanding basic concepts,
right?
But when you're talking your game to a community that, I'm not saying every Hexkin understands what you're doing. I'm not saying every Hexkin understands what Big Pep's talking about a lot of the time, but it is a more intelligent community, and the larger a larger audience does grasp what you're saying, and that larger audience can also,
relate to those that don't. Bingo.
There you got it, man.
Yeah.
And
this is exactly what we're talking about, right? I mean, we know what we are talking about. We know we're on the same page, and that's the crazy thing because we don't even know each other.
Hey, man.
Right?
Yeah, and what you're talking about with fractals is 100% right, because that is true in nature everywhere. Crystals, snowflakes, everything.
Yeah, man.
I think the only difference when it comes to something like investments, you've got the human emotion factor, but even that is something you can kind of predict in, where you get those peaks and then you get those pullbacks. Yeah.
And that's and that's the thing, Big Pep. Like, everybody adds value how they can. This is, I think, how I can add value, because I come literally from Wall Street. Like, I literally work at a big bulls bracket bank. Like, you can hate me all you want type of shit, right? Like, I literally come from Wall Street. So I'm here talking some real game that people need to understand. Like, the shit Warren Buffett says is cool, but you don't really understand it because it's not really being explained. It's just catchy. It sounds cool. It's snippy. He's old and folksy. Warm, makes you feel like your grandpa's talking to you type of shit, right? But you don't really know what he's trying to say. So I'm gonna basically try to break it down in every which way possible so people can understand that this is just a waiting game. And we're literally on that red line, and we're just waiting. And again, and I can do it in Excel if people want to. Like, in that video, the first video I did a 3.5-hour video, Big Pep. I don't know if you know, this is how I became, HEX famous or whatever. And in that video, I go through the steps of how a crypto is a crypto, what drives a crypto nonstop, parabolically higher. And then with that, I go on to explain how HEX is a log-based 2 function. And people need to just understand that they just got to wait their time. And this chart is actually the perfect example that clearly displays it. And the reason it does is if you look at the T-share values on the left-hand side of the chart, you're going to see they're in dollar form, right? Now, the main thing I want to highlight is you're going to notice that these dollars are very specific values. And that's a function of the function of HEX. Because I could easily change the log base of this chart. But the reality is that this chart isn't going to be as pretty because these values are going to be skewed off. Because let's say I do a log base 3 function, right? Matter of fact, shit, we can do it live. Why not? Hold on. I'm gonna do it live. Let's do it live. Why not? Right? Everybody wants to see the magic. Fuck it. Let's do it. Let's make this a log base 3 function, because I just really want to drive this home so people understand that this is not hocus pocus.
While you're figuring that out, can we get a request from chat?
Sure.
Can you just say, technically, you lost all your money?
What do you mean, trading?
No, just say that quote.
Technically, I lost all my money. Okay.
You lost all your money, but okay, thank you.
I don't get it, but all right.
Yeah, it's just people being funny.
Okay, cool.
You sound like someone, so that's all.
Oh, I sound like somebody. God, I didn't get that. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to be rude. I was trying to.
No, you're good, man. I think they got a laugh out of it. But
cool,
anyway.
Cool. Well, next time, just let me know so I can do it better. I'm just trying to be a team player. So as you can see, the scale changes, right? The scale changes, but the pit stops don't. Right? They're still going to be the same pit stops. That's the thing. Right? 243 is very close to 256. You're
and
not
check that out after the breakout around day 316-ish. And then you go up and then you come back down, and then that old resistance is new support, man.
Yes, sir.
All the way to the left there. Yep. Boom. There you go. Boom.
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 Boom. And that's it. It's that simple. Right? Like,
what's up, Pep?
Hey, what's up? The last man standing here? Oh, okay.
All right, he's back.
There
we go.
I'm back. All right, there he is. Yeah.
Somehow, I had clicked on the actual wrong browser. Sorry about that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the scale back to log base 2 because that's the correct. And here, I just got to be honest. When I figured that out, I didn't know that. I was just playing with the scale. And that's when I saw that I had discovered something and that I had to share it. That's literally, it was this chart. If it wouldn't have been for this chart, you people would never have ever known I existed.
Oh, come on now. You're
so serious. Yeah. So serious because this chart, man, is everything. Hold on. Let me get to it because this is a little slow. Come on. Oh, this technology and PowerPoint still can't act right.
You only have a couple charts there, so
yeah, I know, right? Only
just one or two.
So now I change the scale back, right? And now it's a clearer picture, right? Now we see the pit stop at 256, the pit stop at 128, the pit stop at 64, how 64 was resistance and now it's support, and so on and so forth, right? We see the values of 32. Like, yo, this is insider information that isn't even insider information. Like, this is something I need you guys to understand. You guys are like the only people on the planet that get this shit. Because nobody else is receiving this information.
Hexicans even though are a smart class, man.
Yeah, we're really upper echelon in Hexican land. Like, I really want people to understand that. Because we're talking about things that other communities cannot even imagine. And
what's kind of also neat, I'm seeing it here, and I'm hoping it's the case too, is like I was just referring to old resistance becoming new support there on day 351-ish. And now we've broken up to a new high there. And then could this be the retest of that last peak? So we'll see in time. But day 323, that last peak, we came down to touch it a little bit further. But hey, man. If that's how it works, man, that could be that old high could be new support right there all the way to the right.
That's what it looks like. It looks like this might be. It looks like we're going to traverse this level, and perhaps I'm in a new floor with this level. Like this is what I'm guessing. This is what I'm guesstimating is going to happen because I don't. Again, what matters is not the hex or the days that the stakes end. What matters is the T-shares. And that's what I learned last night when I was talking to Kareem. And the T-shares that are going to expire on the 15th of March, is just the day everybody's talking about, is what's going to propel the price higher. Because this T-share over hex rate is going to just shoot higher. How much? I don't know, but it's going to shoot higher because it's a pretty sizable portion. And we can even go to that chart. I don't think I have it open. No, I closed it. Didn't I? Yep, I did. So let me just open one again, just to go to this is on the main page, because I gotta answer somebody's question in regards to that chart. I mean, it's really hard to see, but I'll try to give them some. So what I'm about to do is I'm about to just go to the staker chart here towards the bottom. Yes. Yeah, everybody's favorite website, right?
So a little slow for my taste, but hey, man,
you got to understand why, though, right?
Oh, absolutely.
There's so much data here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so right now we have a total circulating supply of 568 billion hex and a total supply of 629.6 million. Now, do you guys understand this number? This is the number that has been paid out by the system, but is still not minted. Right, so this is the supply that you count, and this is the supply that you don't count. Right, that difference is that stake supply. Right, that's the difference between these two numbers is what's stake, and that is a percentage. So as we scroll down, what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to adjust this to look at like the next 45 days. And that should give us a good.
Yeah, let's say Nate in the chat is asking about that one. I think end of February, it's like maybe 900 million. He says
900 million. We'll see.
Yeah.
I know there's a few. There's a
big one, or
Yeah.
a few actually.
Yeah, there's a few. What's going on here? Why didn't this thing want to work? No, that's not working. Hold on. I always have a hard time with this damn website. It looks like I'm like, what's going on? Why isn't it not populating? I was able to get it to populate yesterday. Okay, here we go. Oh no, come on. This thing kicks my butt every time. It's very embarrassing. Yeah, you see, it just doesn't want to change for me. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Am I doing something wrong? It doesn't seem like it.
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to just show the next 45 days, man.
Oh, just get out of that and then hover your mouse over the chart and just drag it. It should be it. Just wherever you want.
I've never been able to. I've never done that. All right, let's see.
Just got to be careful. Yeah.
Let's go here.
And then it gets easier as you it takes a minute. So
okay. Let me leave it alone then.
Yeah, let it chill there for a minute. If not, I can bring it up on my end.
Okay, yeah, whatever works. Because this thing is super slow. Oh, but hold on. Let's talk about something before you do that.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm just
look at that moving average line and notice something about it. What do you notice about the shape of it? Doesn't it look familiar?
Getting back to the stream.
Oh, they see what I'm talking about.
Oh, there's Pep. Sorry.
What's going on, Pep?
Hey, guys.
Oh, lost him again.
I think he's heading out. I'm just bringing up Hex Vision on my end. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm just trying to find that team. I'll get the.
So basically, if you look at the moving average here, it's the same shape of the log base 2 function, but inverted. Coincidence? I think not. And that's the whole point, bro. I think we're about to fucking skyrocket. Like after all this crap is done, it's game over.
I think the site's slow tonight, man, because I'm having a rough time. All right, here we go. All right, let's at least dial it in here. All right, where are we at?
36 unique stake addresses. Oh, so the number's actually higher than I thought. Damn, I thought it was 26,000. Huh. Interesting.
There we go. This should be better. Slide it up. All right, so we are at 128, 22. I think it's today the 5th. Yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday. No, today is the 5th. Yes, today is the 5th.
All right, this should be it here.
Yeah, it doesn't want to populate for me.
Yeah, it's slow on my end too. All right, so we got this date. All right, here we go. I'm gonna put it up now. Share screen. Cabana.
Boom.
There you go.
That's it. That's
so it's our first goalpost here. We got 676 million on the 9th, and then the 26th, I think, is what they were referring to. It's close to $1 billion. Right. And of course, the big goalpost out here, it's 1.43.
Yeah, so let me ask you, and I asked the guys on the stream yesterday, have you noticed that when there's a big goalpost like that, $1+ billion at the end of, in the middle of March and at the end of February, have you noticed that those never actually leave the system?
Yeah, they get restaked.
They get restaked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad it's not just me. Well, guess that answers your question.
No, I mean it doesn't bother me, but the community asks it all the time, brother.
Yeah, it's
It's
crazy.
like I think the March 15th one that's just the biggest one on the radar.
Yeah, for now.
So
right.
that gets all the eyeballs, and that's just like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Well, as Nate was saying, like this one's significant. That's almost $1 billion, man.
Yeah,
and
that's $1 billion.
But this same guy here, he's got I think another 600 million in November. So it's like, why would he wreck himself?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sense, yeah.
And especially like you just said, given past behavior.
Yeah,
you know, there's no sense in wrecking the product.
This is the thing, man. This is the thing that I just don't get. Now, I know people aren't rational, right? Like, all good and well in that department. But if you're already invested in HEX and you're understanding how it works, what are the odds that you're going to actually exit to wreck it?
Right.
It's almost zero.
Right.
It's
and
almost
like you just said,
zero.
given past behavior, it's like
right. Like that's just not what we see. And here's a funny thing. Let me ask you, and I'd like the chat to also opine on this. Have you guys noticed how like the FUD is basically over? Like there's no big selling anymore. It's been over for several days, if not a week already at this point. It's just been going sideways.
Yeah, and to a broader point, Kareem, he brings this up every now and then, which is it's a great point, and I totally agree with it. And I've said the same thing. Every day the product goes on, disproves haters, scam,
everything.
Every single day,
every negative name,
it just gets stronger and stronger. And every maxi that is a hater, every person that has his or her feelings hurt by Richard, they slowly,
ridiculous.
They
so childish,
slowly fade away because it just proves its case over and over and over, little by little. Every day, and
every single day, man.
Yep.
And people like us just make it even stronger because we're here speaking out in front of it, for it, on behalf of it. Like Richard doesn't even say or do anything.
Yep.
Like he doesn't have to. It's amazing. It's amazing. So how could I not? Right? Like how could you not? Right? Like how could people not? Like this is so great. We have to share it. We have to. And when we talk about things like this T-share rate and it flipping up, like I can't wait for the 28th to see how much the T-share rate is actually going to adjust, because that last one in February is going to be the big one, the first big shock we're going to see in the T-share rate since the big payday, because it's really been minimal since that time until then. Like if you go back to the T-share chart that I have up, over HEX, you can see like the blips that are there are really small. Like they're really, really small. You see, like they're really, really small. They're really not much of anything. But look at what they did to price.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
And it's just the yellow is like slow and steady up. Obviously, we got the big payday bump there, but man, that little shift, shares, man. That little shift
did something, right? And we had a little shift the day before yesterday, and look at what happened. I don't know what it's looking like today. It's down, but I don't know what the math looks like. So I'll get that out tonight because I know everybody's gonna wait for those updated charts. So I'll get it out tonight. But
that T-share chart is just technical perfection right now.
Yeah,
it is so beautiful. So,
it's crazy, man.
It's crazy. Man. We're coming up on.
Yeah, we can wrap it up, dude. This is crazy. I'm sorry. No, I don't mean to do this. I keep doing this to people.
No,
I'm sorry.
Do it, man. No, I got a few things I gotta get to.
No worries.
It's a perfect kind of like
way to end it. Yeah.
Way to end it is
those T-shirt rates, baby.
Well, and you're saying you got some charts coming out tonight. So with that being said, like where can people find them? Where can they find you on social? Just,
sure. I forgot about that stuff. I forgot about that stuff. Yeah, I'm not good at that. So you can find me on Twitter at Wells Only One. That's the number 1 at the end. I know, Richard Hart. I know. Please don't say anything. The branding lesson. I think about it every time I say the number 1 because I just didn't think about it because I'm just like, I didn't think I'd ever be talking to anybody or anything. But yeah, so you can just find me there if you don't follow already. I mean, you'll see the charts. I'm sure people just love to share them. So just be
Are you
on the
gonna be
lookout.
posting those on Twitter?
Yeah, I post it up on Twitter. Yep, I post it
Okay.
up on Twitter every night, so everybody can catch them and be updated and know what's going on with their investment, because that's what this is, right?
Absolutely, man. Oh yeah, Motley points out, and Johnny pointed this out last night. I saw that February 26th stake. He did analysis on it. So
Yeah.
that 948 million is actually the OAs.
Oh,
So people are going to be surprised about the HEX per T-share payout.
so those
increase.
are going to be some major pumpamentals right there, because if anybody knows how to do it, it's the OA.
There's so much at play here, man. How exciting is this?
This is so crazy, dude, because
I mean,
there's nothing
you
like
have,
being at the beginning of the Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's the
and
opposite.
knowing it.
You have an origin address who is backstopping and has the products back every step of the way, and you can't disprove that statement.
Nope.
You can't. It's got Hex's back every step of the way.
The chart says it all.
Yep. And what other crypto has that? It's performing as
I've
designed.
been looking, haven't found it,
and it will continue to do that. Triple audited, baby.
Exactly.
And triple audited, quadruple audited, because whales only tore it apart. So
yeah, right.
I'm going to add you to the fourth audit, brother.
Oh, that's a good one. I wish.
Quadruple audited. Who we have, like Coin Fabric, whales only. It's all good. All right, bro. Well, thank you so much for spending all this time with us.
Thank you for having me.
I know the audience appreciate it. And yeah, man, I want to do this again. I want to do one with maybe you and Pep and Silver if we can get that together. It's hard to do scheduling, but yeah, just love that.
Well, you guys know I don't sleep, so just tap me on the shoulder.
Hey, man, I got you. All right. Thanks so much. Joe Hexotic is going on, or he is on right now. So apologies to him, but yeah, I don't only stream once a week, so he's on. He's on with Nate right now, and I got him on. And then I think I just saw Dipcatchers doing one in like 30 minutes too. So check that out. Discourse Syndicate at 10 or 1 hour from now. Somebody in the chat was like, "Hey, whales only, since you don't sleep, go on Discourse Syndicate." So maybe but yeah, man, it's been awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem, man. My pleasure, man. Always a pleasure.
All right, we will do it again. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, chat. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.